tell you goodbye. Guess I'll buy no matter what. Yeah, susceptible back before the moment flies. So tell you goodbye. Guess I'll buy no matter what. Susceptible back before the moment flies. It's not a problem, cause I know what I'm getting into. Yeah, nothing can stop me, cause I'm addicted to
How are you, Aaron?
you, and I realize we've been waiting.
Anything changing at work for you with mortgage rates going up?
No need to say, where we are heading now, babe. I follow to the edge of it all. So tell you goodbye, 'cause I'll buy no matter what. Yeah, susceptible back before the moment flies. Before it flies. So tell you goodbye, 'cause I'll buy no matter what. Susceptible back.
What's a buyout? What do you mean by buyout? No dating advice for me. That woman that canceled the date last minute showed up to my stream, sent me a text message, and instead of do the right thing to do is to delete it. I responded to it after drinking a bunch of Everclear and Fireball, which is just one of the things that you really shouldn't do. It's like, no dating advice. No dating advice. Don't take dating advice from me. You're gonna be alone, single, humiliated, embarrassed. Like, no, just don't do it. Don't do it. Unless you want to be single for the rest of your life. And miserable. I am 33. Uh, 33. I'm old. Offers 5 to 40K and 6 months of health insurance to no longer work there. Why did they do that instead of just fire people? I'm just curious, Aaron. Is it because they want the goodwill, like for them to be able to come back? Who does that, cancels a date, and shows up to your stream? I don't know. I don't understand women, and I can't pretend to. I really can't pretend to. You know, the history of most of my history with women are people, like, they act in a certain way that's like unacceptable, but then when I leave or when they leave, they're like, like they always stick around just enough, you know? That's always been my history, and I gotta break that shit. I'm very bad at making clean breaks. It's a problem, and I acknowledge it as a problem. I acknowledge that I have that as a fault. I'm very bad at making clean breaks, and I'm very bad at setting boundaries. Anonymous Fish, that's a super chat question. You super chat $50 and I'll answer it. Anonymous Fish, that is a super chat question. We are evil capitalists now. I don't want watermelon daiquiris. I want to go to sleep so that I could wake up at 7 a.m. and get started driving out Texas. They want the goodwill. These people are skilled and useful, even if we don't have the volume for them. They'll be rehired as volume increases. Yeah, but if they I guess like the amount of money they gave them is not like, 6 months worth. This be harder to go no contact when you're a public figure. No, it has nothing to do with that. It's not about that. It's like, I can break up with a person and say, okay, listen, you've gone over my boundary. I'm not even break up, but it's like, I can't do this. And then I'll get a phone call and then I'll answer it. And it's like, what are you doing? You told this woman you want nothing to do with her. Like, why? Not the one from a few days ago, like in general. Like, I will, it's like when I say I'm going to give up on a board and then I go back to it at the end of the day. Like, so what I'm doing is I'm keeping the door open and I'm sending a message that you can just kind of stay in that little door in that limbo region. And I've done that before, and I'm really, I'm bad at it. Like, there was this one woman, I'm never going to forget this, that's talking about She's reading me a cosmopolitan marriage quiz, asking me all different types of questions, all this other stuff. She's like acting flirty, saying she wants to see me with my shirt off. I see her in person and she goes, I can only offer you friendship. I put my shoes on and I didn't even say anything. I just put my shoes on and I said, have a nice life. And I left. Now, and she calls me and I ignore it. And then she calls me 2 weeks later and I pick up and it's like, if I didn't answer your call 2 weeks ago, why would I answer your call now? That's fucking retarded. That's stupid. Like, that's dumb. But I do that. I'm very, and I know that that's my fault. That's not theirs. Other people can only fuck with you as much as you allow them to fuck with you. And yeah, that's something that I've done. I leave the door open just enough to be screwed with. It's a failing of mine because it's consistent across different types of people. You want some classical? Yeah, I'll play you some classical. What do you want? Yeah, I'll get you some classical. You think the standards of dating are too high, or is everyone just having a hard time? I don't know about today because I don't have anything to compare it to. I'm 33, I'm not 93, so I'm not really able to compare it to what things was like in the old days. The women that I've met, I've tended to meet women, I think, whose standards are a little unrealistic, and I'll explain why. Like, because with most of the women that I've had issues with, usually 2 or 4 or 6 years later, I wind up getting a phone call from them with some shit like, hey, do you want to make a pact where if we're still single in 6 months, we get married? And I'm like, what? No! Or like I'll get a call 7 years later from somebody and it'll be crying and talking about how alone they are and this, that, and the other. And it's like, you could have been nicer, 6 years ago. But so like, there was this one person where I thought, happy 4th, buddy. Thank you, Solda. Like, so there was this one woman I remember that the first woman I had sex with, she didn't want me to be her boyfriend. And I remember when I finally asked why, she goes, you're not my idea of a man. And I go, and okay, like, what is it? Is it like, that was a gut punch, but I'm like, you know what? I already made the mistake of sleeping with you, so fuck it, I'll ask. Like, is it an attitude thing, a personality thing, a money thing, a job thing? And she goes, no, you're 5'6", you're too short. And I'm like, dude, ouch. And then, so I get a call from this woman like 7 years later, and she's crying, talking about how she wants to commit suicide and how miserable and lonely she is and how horrible life is and how she fucked everything up with all these people and like she screwed up everything and she wanted to talk about it. And I'm like, I was on the train back from some lobbying trip. I just Googled crisis counselor and I just gave her a number and I said, hey, I'm going to read you a number. Please call these people. And I hung up, I blocked, I never went back. It's weird because like I think that in everybody's brain there's this thing that kind of what am I saying? What was it? I think in everybody's brain there's this little teeny tiny part, even if you don't want to admit it, that wants to quote win a breakup. Winning a breakup means that at the end of it your life is doing better than theirs. Like if somebody, it's one thing if you break up amicably. Like Erica and I, that was amicable. I hope Erica has a better life than me. I hope Erica has an amazing life. I'd show up to her wedding. She's a good woman. She's a genuinely good woman. We just weren't compatible. That's different. But like this other one, this is the kind of thing where it's like, okay, you're willing to do all that, and then you're saying you're not a real man because you're short. Like a small part of my head's like, I kind of hope I do better than you in life. Like I'm gonna, you fuck, you're really cutting in with that? Okay, fine, cut in, enjoy. Get home 0.2 seconds faster, you fuck. Where was I? Oh shit, I gotta be here. Jesus. What was I saying? Yeah, when she called me crying, talking about how she wanted to commit suicide and how she screwed everything up and blah blah blah, I didn't feel like I won shit. Like I really didn't feel like I won a goddamn thing. But like everybody that's done this type of shit, like I wind up getting a phone call 2 or 4 years later, and I'm like, hey, why don't we try to make it work, kind of thing, and it's like, no. Have like best of luck, man. You made your choice, You know the Batman Beyond episode? You had your chance, and so did you. Season 1, episode 5. Like, I made good money. I was working on building a business for myself. I kept in good shape. It's like, you're 5'6", so I don't see you as a man. Like, fuck you. But I learned to up my standards for the people that I am in an intimate relationship from that point. That was a gut punch. I'll be honest. Like I was young back then. Yeah, I was a teenager. Like I learned my lesson. Like up the stand. Like, I don't even think I spoke to a girl for 6 months after that. Oh God, that hurt. But such is life. But I didn't feel like I won anything, you know? Even after hearing that, like even after her saying that type of vindictive, hurtful shit, this is also the woman that wound up saying something along the lines of like, no wonder your mother killed herself with a son like you. Like she would try to figure out how to say things that were really cutting, like as cutting as humanly possible. And I was dumb enough to actually listen to it. Where was I with this? Oh yeah, like when I got that phone call from her, like crying, saying, I'm so depressed. I wish why did things get fucked up between us? Blah blah blah. I want to, I want to end it. I just gave her the number of a cry. Like I didn't feel like I won anything, because like back in the day, I thought, I'm not crazy. You're crazy. I'm not nuts. It's you. But she kind of made me think like I was the one that's nuts. And like after 5 or 10 years pass, and it's like, okay, I'm here and you're there. It's like, no, you were crazy. It wasn't me. But the other, like, honestly, I've gotten better at picking. Back then, I was really bad at picking, and that's my fault. It's not these women's fault for being nuts. It's my fault for picking them. You're only going to be as nuts as somebody allows you to be, and I'm complicit in that. Or the one that was asking all these marriage questions and all this other shit and blah blah blah. And then like I go out, like I want to see you with your shirt off, this, that, or the other. What if things were different between us back in the day? I go to see you, and you're like, I can only be friends with you right now. I literally got up. I fucking got up. I put my shoes on and I left. And she's like, why? Why would you do that? I'm like, yo, don't even. Like don't even. No. Fuck out of here with that bullshit. Okay, let's be a New Yorker. I'm gonna cut in, bro. I'm gonna cut in. I'm being a New York driver right now. Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna be an asshole. I'm gonna pretend I have my New York plates on, not New Hampshire plates. And I get a call from a weeks later, and it's like, damn, why couldn't things be different, or blah blah blah. It's like, why can't you just be like cooperative? Would it kill you to be cooperative? How about this? If you're telling a man you want to see him with his clothes off, and you're asking him marriage survey questions, and you're being flirty, and you're touching his shoulder and all this shit, how about this? Don't use the F word around him. How about that? He's like, well, no, you see, it's fair that I do that because this, that, and the other. It's this, that. Okay, fine. Be alone. Be alone. Bye. Now, I didn't pick up the phone, but you know what I did? Picked up the phone 2 weeks later. That's a fail. So that's something that I fail at. Like when somebody does that kind of bullshit, I leave the door open. And I shouldn't be giving dating advice because my own dating life is an absolute clusterfuck. But my point, what was the recurring point? The point was, where I began with this is, oh, fuck out of here. Hell no. No. Fine. I cut in. I gotta let you cut in. Yeah, I can't cut in and then not let him cut in. That's not fair. That's kind of hypocritical. Yeah, I'll let you cut in, you fuck. I'll let you cut in, you fucking fuck. Yeah. I'm bad. I wind up leaving doors open that should not be left open. Well, I'll get... But the real point of that I was getting to is, hope you enjoyed your 4th of July. I had a lovely 4th of July. I was very happy today. Is that I'll think, okay, you know what? Maybe this person's standards are reasonable. Maybe it was me that was like, maybe something was wrong with me. But every time I think that, like literally every time I've thought that, a phone call comes in. Like whether it's 2 weeks later, 2 months later, 2 years later. From that same person going, like, what if things could have been different? What if this, that, the other? And it's like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. So I guess to answer your question with unrealistic standards, I think a bunch of people have unrealistic standards right now. I can't tell you about men having unrealistic standards because I haven't dated any, because that's not my thing. No, no offense to you if it is your thing. No judgment. But I'm not going to judge you if you're into men. Okay, this is too late. But yeah, my experience has only been with women there. But yeah, I've met a lot of people with like crazy standards. And everyone that's had some sort of crazy standard winds up calling back at some point. Again, the important at that point is to is to just hold your ground and just, like, no, you made your choice, now live with it, kind of thing. Erica had normal standards. Erica wasn't delusional. Like, she understood, this is where I am in life. This is where I'm above average. This is where I'm great. This is where I'm below average. This is where I'm normal. I am, I do not get to make radical, insane demands for the person I'm with, or demand that I get some guy that makes $800K a year and is 6'4" and is willing to deal with all of my little tests. She actually didn't have shit tests. She it's funny because she's said that she's usually considerably more assertive or something, or making fun of other men. It's like, I never remember you picking on me in any way, shape, or form at all. I think I brought out a feminine side in her that wasn't there with other people. I don't know how I did it though. It's weird because that doesn't happen with other women that I'm with. If anything, I wind up leaving them because they wind up acting masculine and aggravating and argumentative over every little fucking thing. Yeah, she was a good woman. Genuinely good woman. She's gonna make somebody very happy someday. Where was I? Is the new car AC any good? It's hot as Satan's balls here. It's pretty good. I like the fact that you could turn it on before you get in the car. That came in very handy in Florida. Without that feature, I'd be fucked. The ability to set the AC temperature and turn it on from far away is amazing. It's necessary. It's cool watching you with a silent car. Cool. Steve Miller says, don't be hypocritical. I don't understand. I know you have a track record for picking crazies. I'd be interested in learning how you met Erica. She actually emailed me, and it's in my community post. Actually, if you look on my community page on YouTube, you can find the email that she sent me. So she had spilled what? So there was okay, I shouldn't tell this story, but I'm gonna. She's gonna fucking kill me. So she was talking to her friend, and a fly landed in her cup of water, and she's using her MacBook with the webcam. And she tells the friend, and she wants to show her friend that the fly fell into her cup. So she goes to tilt the cup over to show the fly. And what do you think happens when you tilt a cup filled with water over? Bam. Instant customer right there. So she Googles to figure out what to do with victim damaged MacBooks and finds my stuff. And then just shot her shot out of the blue. And that was that. Speaking of, so I think with standards, this is an interesting one. So we spoke over the phone for about a month before I met her. It was first a 2-minute conversation, then a 5-minute conversation, then a 10-minute conversation, then a 30-minute conversation, then an hour conversation, then a 2-hour conversation, then a 3-hour conversation. So by the time I saw her, there was a certain chemistry there. When it comes to unrealistic expectations, I've heard women say in the middle of the first date, I don't find there to be chemistry here, sorry. And what I've always found kind of strange about that is, if I literally just met you and I have no history with you, I don't get how that works. All the women where I've had good chemistry with them, I got to know them pretty well before I actually went out on my first date with them. So by the time I was on my first date with them, there was this level of comfort, level of what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, there'd be a level of comfort, there'd be a level of familiarity and everything that just made everything flow easier than if I'm literally meeting you for the first time. And when it comes to unrealistic expectations, and again, I'm talking out of my ass here, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing when it comes to women. I think one of the unrealistic expectations is the idea that there's, son of a fucking whore. I moved to the one place that has a broken goddamn charger. One of the unrealistic expectations, I think, is the idea that there's going to be an instant chemistry or an instant, immediate spark. Now, don't get me wrong. Maybe if you're dating Joaquin Phoenix or Brad Pitt or some shit, maybe you get an instant spark. But for me, that kind of spark shit, or that kind of you have to be comfortable with it, I think. Because the women that I've been with, I've usually been pretty assertive and dominant in certain ways, or I don't know. But that's not something you can really do on a first date, or a second date. You have to know somebody really well to do some of the shit that I've done. And it tends to be very well received, more well received than I would have ever imagined. But there has to be some level of familiarity to do that type of shit. Like, you're not doing 50 shades of gray shit on the first date, especially in a liberal city. You'll end up in prison. See, when I think about it, the relationships that I've had that were long-term, they started with a first date, but that first date, like the 3 or 4 good relationships I had, they started with a first date, but that first date was based on like 2 or 3 weeks into the future, and we had been talking for a really long time before it, on the phone or IM or something, so by the time it happened, it was, 1 second, I'm just gonna change the car charger before I take a piss somewhere. I'm gonna find the bush to take a piss in. Give me a moment. There we go. Let's find the bush to piss in. Also, I should plug in a microphone so this doesn't sound like shit. There we go. I like how you all are turning this into a dating channel. You know what the real truth is? I'm better at dating right now than I was at fixing MacBooks in 2013 when I started uploading MacBook repair videos. When I started doing MacBook repair videos in 2013, I think I was worse at fixing MacBook boards back then than I am at dating now. So why not? You know, fake it till you make it. I was faking it like crazy in the beginning. I think my site said I had no idea. Like I would outsource the board repair to this one dude in China that I was referred to by an Albanian drug dealer that was doing all the board repairs. And then at one point he did something really stupid, so I figured, if he's that dumb and he knows how to do this, then surely I can figure it out. I spent years identifying as something I wasn't, and then I wound up actually becoming it, and then I wound up becoming known as one of the best at it, which is really funny because it was all based on a lie. Like I don't know how to fix a motherboard in 2009. I mean, my website said I could, but I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And I wouldn't experiment on customer boards, but I allowed somebody else to do the work for me. But I would tell myself, I am a board tech. I am a board tech. And like, I actually believed it, and I would read up on it. Like, I tried to assume the identity of one. And then a couple of years in, I actually became it. So in some way, I'm kind of a fraud. Well, I shouldn't say kind of a fraud. Technically, I was a fraud. Big fraud. It's crazy how life works. Let's see if I can take a piss in here. So I gotta pretend that I work here. And I'll walk in with that strut and that stride like I work here. Let's pretend. How are you? Where's a bathroom? Where can we pee? Gotta stream the stream, you know? How are you? See, here's the important thing to understand. When a building has a security guard that makes minimum wage, they're not going to secure your building. I could have walked into any one of those offices and done whatever I want. Nobody was there. I don't even know what this building is for. I just walked past the security desk that nobody was there at and took a piss. I'd like to hear some radio promos, huh? Why are people hanging on to Erica? Parasocial relationships. My chat has a serious very weird, stalkative, and parasocial relationship. I broke up with her 6 months ago. I got over it 5 months ago. People in my chat still have not gotten over it, and they weren't even dating me. It's fucking weird, bro. A lot of people faked it till they made it. Honestly, I faked it. Like, I 100% faked it. I advertised board repair on my website before I know how to do it. I was outsourcing it to somebody else. It's funny because that actually breaks Department of Consumer Affairs' law. if you are going, so Department of Consumer Affairs for the license for repair, if I outsource work, you need to outsource it to somebody that has a Department of Consumer Affairs license. Some sweatshop in China is not licensed in New York City or anywhere. That's not what they get me on. All the stuff that none of the stuff that I've ever been gotten on by the DCA was actually legitimate. They get you for not having your fucking business license number on a business card or some bullshit like that. By the way, across the street, this is where I believe this Marcy Housing Projects. This is where Jay-Z grew up. Should I walk around the Marcy Housing Projects close to midnight by myself, holding a phone? Why not? Let's do it. Let's see. So many pussies in the chat that overdose on Fox News saying, "Oh, you're gonna get shot. You're gonna get shot." Ah. Let's do it. Here, I'll walk on the side, the building side, not the parking lot side. Let's see if you guys are so scared that you leave with me. Let's see if I lose viewers because they're scared to watch. I used to live in this area a long time ago. Guy who start pawing right away, forfeit a girl's chance to genuinely become interested. See, Jamie, that's what I fucked up though. Because I've had women say I don't feel like there's a chemistry between us, and when they've said that, it's been on dates where I didn't start doing that immediately. However, the dates where I did start doing that immediately, that was usually after an emotional connection had been established, typically through, again, like a lot of conversation. Like there's a woman I dated 5 years ago. I asked her out, but before, it was on a date 3 weeks into the future on her birthday. So in that 3 weeks, we probably had 10 hours of phone conversation. So by the time I saw her, we went through a park. After the park, she wanted to change at my place before we went to the birthday dinner. And, you know, like I pinned her to my couch and we did certain things that I'm not going to say on live stream. But she was immediately receptive to being dominated on the couch and being restrained because we had that very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? There was an emotional connection that had already been done. Whereas if I ask somebody out, let's say I see somebody at work, or it's a flirty customer and I give her my card with my number and I say, let's arrange a date, and I do that then like that's a Me Too hashtag thing. So like for me, in order to do if you're gonna paw on the first or second date, you have to have some serious fucking history and emotional connection for that to work. And it does work, it's just, again, connection. Now, maybe there are women out there for whom you can just do that on the first date when you just met them. That's probably, A, I've dated women that are less slutty than that, or B, the men that do manage to accomplish that have a a lot more game than I do. I'm not doing that. I'm no Joaquin Phoenix. But yeah, I think when men do that, the reason they do that is because they're afraid of getting friend zoned. And I understand why they are. Because when I have been like virtually every time I've been like the consummate gentleman that's not pawing you or anything. Like I wind up getting a text message at the end of it or a phone call saying, yeah, you'd be nice as a friend. So I think what men think is, if I'm gonna be in the friend zone anyway, if I don't go for it, I might as well go for it and be seen as a pervert, but potentially get her to at least know what my intentions are, than be too conservative and not actually know. I think I guess it depends. Depends, Jamie. I'm curious what you think. Chemistry takes time. There's too much pressure on the first few meetups. Got to be willing to invest. But part of the problem. Why am I reading the screen across the street from the Marcy Projects? I used to live in that building over there a long time ago, right above the laundromat. $1,100 for the entire. That was the first apartment I think I ever had that had my name on the lease instead of somebody else's. Hell, my current apartment has somebody else's name on the lease because they actually ran credit. This other one didn't. Let's face it, you're not getting an apartment on this rundown place. If you're looking for an apartment here, it's because you don't have a credit score. There's no way any of that shit was getting run for me. Here. By the way, shout out to the Great. Got a Great. Love the Great. Holy crap, 140 people. I never have 140 people in the live channel. Wow, maybe this should become a dating channel. Kinto Zero says, I don't like the idea that she thought she could do better, and then when she can't, she couldn't. Now she's going to settle for me. No, she had her chance. True. Cry me a river, not my problem. True, Kinto. Happy 4th, buddy. Thank you, Solo Dev. That's really nice. My best friend is 5'6", and girls break up with him but won't tell him why. I think it's his height. Oh yeah, there was this. So Dr. Evil Genius will tell you. He has his own podcast talking shit, and he shows up in chat occasionally. There was this one woman at the gym that a trainer that I had a crush on that I was thinking of asking out, and he tells her, one of my clients has a crush on you, and then he says which, and then he points out it was me, and this was right after I got featured in CBC News, so there was a good amount of buzz, and so the guy in the front desk actually knew who I was. And she goes, what? That guy? He's short. Why would I want to go out with him? And then my trainer just walks away and he doesn't even acknowledge her. And the front desk, and she goes, what? And the front desk guy goes, I can't believe you just said that about him. You don't even know who he is. And I didn't really think I was much of anybody. A dude that showed up in the news. But now I'm pissed off. He never told me that shit. If he told me that, I would have never fucking asked her out. So anyway, I didn't ask. She walks by me, and I'm waiting in line to get my smoothie, and I don't ask her out because I don't want to lose my place in line. And my trainer looks at me and goes, "Pussy." I mean, now I have to. There's no. You just can't call a man a pussy like that. That just doesn't work. It doesn't matter if she has a gun pointed at me. Like I can't live if you say that. So I walk downstairs to go ask her out, and she's standing next to this guy that's like 6 foot tall, like 280 pounds. He's on some shit. Like he's on some juice. I'm not trying to be jealous, but like you could just see the way he's built. That's just not natural. You're not gonna look like that naturally. So, like he's walking with the fake lat syndrome and everything. He's huge, roided out everywhere. And I'm thinking, okay, it's either the trainer or the boyfriend. One way to find out, right? So I walk up to her, I introduce myself, and I'm like, you should come see this show. It's gonna be more fun than whatever you're doing tomorrow night anyway. And she's like, what? And I'm like, you don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow night. I'm like, yep, I know this will be more fun. So come on. I figured exactly what it was. It was like, so come. And I think I like handed out a card with my number. And she's like, okay. And she takes it. And then the dude like shakes my hand and is like, damn, that's brave. I'm like, yeah, I figured you were the trainer. No, but and he starts laughing. And he gives me a fist bump. And then I go back upstairs and then I hear the height shit. And I'm like, fuck. If I knew that, I would have never even asked her out to begin with. Because now you're only saying yes because you got shamed by the front desk dude at the gym. You're not saying yes because you actually wanted to. Like, Anyway, I wound up here's another funny thing about that. When I wound up cutting her off, she winds up coming back. She literally visited my store. I didn't ask her to visit my store. She visits my store, and she demands that we go out to like coffee or something. She takes us to a nice coffee place, gets everything. She's like, I just can't believe you did this. I mean, it seemed like everything was going great, and like, why would you lose interest? I didn't have it in me to tell her, like, I know you're a shallow C word, but. And I just looked at her and I said, you just can't take that you got rejected by a nerd, can you? And she's like, she has a giant smirk, and she goes, that's not what it is. That's not what it is. And it's like, yeah, the thing is, your mouth is saying one thing, but that smirk on your face is saying another. And I said something like, have a good life, walk back to work, let her pay for the coffee. Not very gentlemanly of me, but whatever. Do you recommend I watch The Invincibles? I watched that show, Invincible, that in the beginning was good. The ending, I really didn't like that it followed a lot of the same tropes as most of the television shows when I was a kid. Like that whole trope of the superhero that can't tell his girlfriend why he's never there, and she's always mad, and he really wants to tell her, oh, you know, I do love you, I do care about you, I just have to save the world, but I can't tell you my secret identity, and how they're always close to breaking up over it. Like, it's one. If you're a kid, by all means, watch Invincible. You'll love it. But if you're an adult who watched cartoons as a kid, you're gonna know the plot line. You're gonna be able to see where the plot's going. You're gonna understand everything about it, and it's gonna be very predictable and very boring, in my opinion. It's not really great. Can relate. An ex 4 years later. One sec. Not walking by here, looking at my phone. An ex 4 years later reached out. Also said she would offer herself if I didn't respond. And I found her recent ex dumped her. Didn't care about anything but her story. Yeah, like I think when I was younger, when I was a teenager, I'd really think, wow, maybe it's me. Maybe there's something wrong with me. But like as I got older and these phone calls started just like trickling in, it's like, no, it was them. They were on some bullshit. I looked in the mirror and I recognized I'm an average ass dude. Let me go for an average chick. But they looked in the mirror and they thought, I'm an average chick. No, I'm a boss bitch. I'm gonna go for a perfect 10. I'm not gonna settle. I'm perfectly unsatisfied. I need to be perfectly satisfied in every single way. And then they turn 26 or 29 or 32 and they get a phone call crying saying, let's get dinner or lunch. Like, it's happened so many times. I can't tell you how many times that's just happened. I don't know if that's happened because I was a good dude or if that happened because they realized they became famous on the internet or they saw me. One of those chicks, I'm not kidding, one of them called me in 2016, a day after I showed up on the news. Not kidding. Hadn't heard from her in 4 years. Got a call out of the blue right after she shows up on the news saying, yeah, you know, I was going to be married and now I'm not going to be married. I was engaged and I'm not engaged anymore. You want to go, I just wanted to catch up and see how you were. Maybe you want to go for a walk to the park. And it's like, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck. As that Batman Beyond episode, season 1, episode 5, you had your chance and so did you. I love the voice acting there. There's two of my favorite voice actors in this entire thing. There's Michael Ironside, who played Darkseid in the original animated series before Batman Beyond. Whoever it is that played Derek Powers, that was a talented voice actor. Very good at sounding really evil. They had better voice acting for characters back then than they do now. Maybe it's just that, I don't know if it's just that standard nostalgia that you have for the olden days or something else, but... You had your chance, and so did you. Ah! And then he gets shocked by Blight. Gets me every time. Remember, there might be some momentary discomfort. Victor, we were only trying to help you. I love that scene. Victor, we were only trying to help you. There might be some momentary discomfort. The tweak of reverb they add at the end that's not at the beginning. There's a little bit of reverb that you see at the end that's not at the beginning that makes it perfect. Okay, I'm gonna sit down in a nice place where I can actually read shit without having to worry about getting robbed. I'm behind on chat by 30 minutes. Damn, that's a lot of chat. Erica respected you, which went a long way. Erica was a very respectful person. Not of everybody. She wouldn't be respectful of people that she thought were fuckboys. She had respect for people for the right reasons too. Like if she saw that somebody was spending their money stupidly, like if she saw that you made $2,000 a month, but you lived like you made $6,000 a month, and you were trying, like she would see right through that shit almost immediately, and she was so good at predicting stuff like that in people. She was a good person when it came to stuff like that. But yeah, she respected me. There were times where I felt like she didn't, but when I thought she didn't respect me, when in reality it was she didn't realize the mindset that she was in. So it wasn't like she was doing something on purpose to hurt me or because she didn't care about me. She just got stuck in a funk kind of thing. And she's definitely she's a high quality human being. Please send me all the women with assertive masculine personalities my way. You don't want that, man. No, you don't want that. No, you really don't want that. I don't get that thing either, instant chemistry. Okay, Jamie, I'm going to read up on your stuff. I'm sorry that I'm 20 minutes behind. When Lewis and Erica were on live cam, Lewis's face softened and her body relaxed around her. I think that's just the... I think that's Android the front camera of whatever it does. It's like the beautification filter or something. How about dating prison women? Not for me, bro. Not for me. Okay. I gotta get better at making this a conversation. I probably should have chose a better place to go walking so I could actually read the phone. If I'm not making eye contact with people as they walk by, they will think that they can take my phone. So I have to make it very clear that if you try to take my phone, I will take whatever weapon you have and fuck you with it. Okay. I can't answer that question, MSO. It's really annoying. Damn, I'm behind by a lot. Lewis lives at night are in my way. Thank you. You replug the mic and it's ticking. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Lewis, you connected already on a pretty cold scenario meetup. No, true. That's the thing. Like, I don't know what people expect when they say stuff like that. Like, I don't know how you expect instant chemistry on a first date. That's just something I've never really understood, if you don't have a history. But there's been 2 or 3 people where it's been like... And the interesting thing is the people that have said that put 0 effort in. It's really weird. Then again, I would not want to put effort into somebody if I wasn't attracted to them. However, the weird thing is, why would you accept a date if you're not attracted to somebody? Like, if a woman asks me out and I look at you and I'm not attracted to you, I'm going to say no. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my money because I usually pay for it. I'm too traditional or something that way, but yeah, I usually like, I'm not going to waste your time. Why is Lewis talking about BDSM? I mean, that's not really BDSM. That's I wouldn't. BDSM is when you're tying them up and everything. Versus, you know what? Nope. We're not even gonna get into that. Fuck that. We're not getting into that. Nope. No, we're not doing that. Yeah, we're not. We're just not describing that. People are interested in Lewis's relationship exactly like people are interested if he left for New York, his cats, his work. It's completely normal to ask about relationships. Yeah, I'm gonna start making that shit super chat only though. I think I'm gonna start turning that into a paywall. I'm gonna become a proper influencer. We're going to have questions that we answer for free, and we're going to have questions that are answered for super chats. Ask you to introduce you to your friends if you're going to be in the friends. I'm not interested in that. All your talk of steak before drinking has enticed me to buy a steak. You need a big meat sponsorship. Maybe, that would be a good idea. If you don't try anything physical on the first date, the women will think you're not interested. Yeah, like that's the thing. But then as Jamie said if somebody tries something physical on the first date or starts pawing, that's a turnoff. So how do you know if a woman is the type of woman that wants that shit on the first date or not? Like you either risk being friend zoned or you risk a Me Too claim. So it's really difficult. And again, that's why I really do prefer to have some sort of connection with you before a first dinner or a first walk to the park or a first drive or something. Because, like, I'll figure it out, you know? I'll figure out if there is that little bit of interest there. And I can tell over the phone. I can tell, I can even tell over an IM, honestly. You can tell if there's a little bit of interest there. And if there is, then it makes it easier to do the rest. Make your own dating website that doesn't suck. It's not the websites that suck. It's that platform altogether I find it to be an unhealthy way to engage with the world. So it's not like I can make a better website. Because I believe that website dating is fundamentally socially unhealthy. Homeless Great video is your top video. Yep, top video on YouTube, 9.5 million views. Okay, I'm up to 11:32 in chat. It's 11:46 in real life. Dumb story. 2 weeks, met a guy on the bus. Exchange numbers. We get off at the same stop. I'd ask his name and profession. His next sentence was an offer to buy condoms because he had an hour to blow. Okay, I've never been that forward, Jamie. My idea of forward is... Yeah, that's not my idea of forward. But there are little things that you can do. There are little cues on date one. Like, for instance, let's say you're walking on an uneven terrain. and you go to grab the woman's hand to kind of direct her, like, you know, I'm gonna grab your hand and I don't know, take you through this like a lady or something. If she like tosses your hand away, like I don't want, no, I want to be independent, I want to do it myself, then I'm not gonna, yeah, I'm not really gonna go further physically. But if I do that and you're really receptive to it and all that, there's small shit that you could do to tell. But yeah, I don't do the, I definitely don't say, I have an hour to blow, let me buy some condoms. That's really, that doesn't, what the fuck? Yeah, Jamie, where the fuck are you finding these men, man? Jamie, I mean this in the best possible way. Please don't hate me, because I'm probably going to need you to find me a new store when August comes and my rent goes back up to 13K and I leave. So please don't be too mad at me. Why the fuck would you exchange the number with that type of dude? Like, there's something in your radar that's off. To be clear, for years I had the same thing where, like, I had to ask myself, you know, why is it was, I think David Chang or somebody said, you seem to attract crazy people. No, I don't attract crazy people. I choose crazy people. When you say you attract crazy people, that means you're not giving yourself agency in what you're doing. I choose crazy. Jamie, why are you choosing crazy? What's missing? What do you think is missing from you as a woman? What do you think is, like, well, what's the issue that's causing you to say, okay, I have to lower myself to exchanging numbers with this cocksucker? Because there's something there that's not, yeah, something's not clicking there. Blue Robot, that's a super chat only question. Super chat $50 and I'll answer it. I'm being, that's right. That's it. Don't estimate short guys, they can pack a punch. Don't call me chicken. I know you guys are chicken. When I do a live stream walking around New York, I get all the people going, what are you doing? You're gonna get killed, oh my god. From people that, like, I swear to Christ. Tucker Carlson has them so scared. They are so scared all the time. They are so scared. Now, Tucker Carlson has people scared of walking down a city block almost as much as probably Anderson Cooper had people afraid of walking outside and being near people without a mask. Like, the news is really good at making people scared. Really good. Really good at making people scared. He had a wild ride in dating. Tons. Sherman Howard voiced Derek Powers. Sherman Howard. He's awesome. He's based. Have you been mugged to come close to it? 2010 and 12. So in 2010, so I was actually walking down the street in this neighborhood back when, and now it's kind of gentrified. It's like mixed. In like 2006, 2010 range, like I was the only, myself and my neighbor, I think were the only white people that I saw walking here. So I'm walking down the street and you know that's, I forget, it's a Sesame Street song. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong. So there's three people and they look at me like, yo, white boy, what are you doing here? Some shit like that. Those are horrible subwoofers. Anyway, so they took my Mystic Iced Tea bottle from me. It broke. And then he winds up jabbing me right over here with it. He didn't take any of my stuff. So I can't block because I suck at martial arts, even though I've taken classes at it. So I wind up doing this, and instead of doing this, I wound up doing like, I don't know, this, some retarded shit. And I wound up getting that in my arm. But so after that happened and I was still standing, the bottle fell and I wound up pushing him, then hitting him, then punching him, choking him, and then putting him to the ground. His friends left, and then I didn't really notice that I was bleeding. So I'm walking home, I'm like, oh, and I look down and I'm like, oh shit, because it was raining. So since it was raining, I couldn't tell that my arm was wet. But then when it felt warm, I looked down, it's like, oh god, that's a lot of blood. I wound up walking up to the Duane Reade on Myrtle and Nostrand, and walking in and saying, excuse me, ma'am. I'm leaking blood all over the floor like crazy. And it's just like a little stream of blood following me. And I go, which aisle has a Band-Aid? And this woman actually got some iodine. She got a proper bandage from the pharmacy, like fixed everything up for me. And she didn't even charge me any money. I said, I left a $100 bill on the table. I said, thank you. Very nice of her. Because I probably would have passed out trying to put the Band-Aid on myself. Okay. You made the comment about assertive women. I don't look for them, but they seem to find me. Mike unstable. Yeah, sorry. Unplug, plug it back in. The mount sounds loose. Yeah, sorry. My connection is loose. Sorry, man. It's a wise move to stop talking about kinky stuff. True. Would you ever date a single mother? Not in this lifetime, no. No. If you had a kid with somebody else, go back to the person you made the kid with. Like, that's not my problem. Like, listen, there's a lot of different forms of birth control. If you're going to have a kid with somebody else, find the person that you made the kid with, make it work with them. If you can't, then that's, like, that, no. I'm not raising somebody else's kid. That's not my, no. Teach their own. I'm pretty assertive and aggressive and like women who are the same. I'm not a fan of the overly feminine or passive. See, that's the thing. It's not about being passive or demure. It's about being cooperative and not like, how about this? It's really annoying to be with somebody where it's just like, you want to walk someplace and they go, no, we're going this way. It's like, okay. And then when you go that way, they're like, well, this is not like that way doesn't get you where it's annoying when you just can't like like, okay, there's some things you do, there's some things I do. Like when everything has to be a back and forth fucking argument, it just becomes such a pain in the ass. And the women that have been like hyper assertive and masculine, those were always the type of women that would do shit like say, okay, I want to call you a friend, but I want to act romantic towards you. And there's nothing you can do about it. And if you try to leave, I'll just call you all the time. Like, it's weird, you know? I'm confident in myself and I'm taking the lead. Every time I've met one of those like super assertive, independent, like modern kind of girl, it doesn't work out. It's just fucking weird. It's like, we can't agree on anything. We can't ever be on the same page. It's just never worked. When I was a kid, I thought, oh, that's the way things are supposed to be. You know, like, the world is changing. It's not the 50s anymore. I should be happy we're a woman that takes charge and all this other stuff. But every single time I've tried to fuck with somebody like that, it just blows up in my face horribly. So I don't really care. I'm open to stating my preference at this point. I like people who are feminine. I like people who are cooperative. I don't want to be with some super hyper masculine assertive person. Because like at the end of the day, it's the same shit. Every time I've been with a woman like that, it's the same fucking shit. They have no idea what they want. They're wishy-washy. They leave. They fuck somebody else. I get a call 3 to 6 years later saying, please come back. And I like, fuck that shit. No, I'm not. You know, well, maybe your experience will be different than mine. But like, no, fuck that shit. Mike is making noise. Hand grab, yes. A Wii game of footsie, yes. There are times I refuse help because I've worked hard to build certain skills and need to maintain them. That's a good mindset. It was a random good-looking guy. We exchanged glances repeatedly. Nothing was amiss, totally normal. Then he did that. I don't know. New York City. Jamie, there's something missing in your radar. Jamie, there's something missing in the radar. My standards are high. Trust me. This wall is fortified. Exchanging number is tame. I don't know. You consider yourself white. I suppose I do. Anyone can find my number in a heartbeat anyways. What's all these weird blue cars? Those are Revel electric vehicles. Not wanting to walk a certain way. Didn't tell us the story where that woman who didn't want to walk somewhere after you ate. I don't remember that. Oh, yeah, I do. It was funny. So there was this one woman, she said, I don't want to walk down here because I think this is a bad neighborhood. And she was saying that because she saw black people and she was black. That was fucking hysterical. It's like, and she had this Valley girl, this really, really Valley girl accent to her. And it's like, I don't think you notice, but like, A, nobody's afraid to walk here. B, I'm not afraid to walk here. C, you keep looking at the 3 black people saying that that's the reason you don't want to walk here. And D, you're fucking black. So if I didn't want to walk next to black people, I wouldn't be on a date with you to begin with. So why, what the hell are we doing? Why are you afraid to walk down this block? Because why are you staring at those 3 black people saying that that is the reason that you're afraid to walk down this block? When you are black, none of them have weapons, none of them have guns, none of them are smoking weed on the street, none of them look like degenerates, none of them have their pants below their waist. Like, what is it? But she couldn't find my store with Google Maps and an iPhone. Like, that did not last very long. That was probably the least intelligent person I've ever gone out with, and I am probably the least intelligent person in this stream right now for actually agreeing to go out with her. When you find your wife, would you move to the suburbs with a white picket fence? I don't know. It depends. Black Karens are bizarre. I had never met a black Karen until that. That was the first black Karen I ever met. What you're describing is fairly different than what I'm into. That's just annoying / bitchy. True, and again, I'm not saying that all modern women are bitchy. Or what I'm saying is that every single time I've met a woman that says, I'm assertive, I'm alpha, I'm modern, I'm independent, I'm this, that, or the other shit, like every single fucking time, it's been that type of stupid, dumbass power struggle where it's like, just saying, okay, so do you Like, just basic shit. Like, it's just so hard to get in the same page on just basic shit. It's like just basic ass shit, and like everything becomes an argument, and it's so fucking aggravating. It's like, it's kind of like the Game of Thrones shit, where like somebody who has to say they're the king is no true king. If you have to say you're the king, you are not a king. King doesn't have to say he's a king. There's somebody who's independent don't have to say that they're independent. Somebody that's strong doesn't have to say that they're strong. Somebody just, and like they try to prove it in these really stupid ways by just like holding shit, you know? Like, okay, I'm gonna see if I can get you sexually attracted to me, and then I'm gonna say, well, no, I don't think I can be in a, like, I can't call what I'm doing with you dating, or I can't call what I'm doing with you a relationship, or this, that, or the other. But then when you leave, they're like, oh, no, no, no. Like, it's this stupid fucking back and forth shit with this arguing over everything. Like, just which way to take on a Google map, like, becomes an argument. What time to leave becomes an argument. What the status of a relationship. I'm convinced that this particular sect of people are why there's more Facebook statuses than single, married, or in a relationship. There should be 3 statuses on Facebook. Single, married, in a relationship. All those rest of those bullshit statuses are because of these bullshit little power struggles and retarded shit that people put themselves through. It's, I don't know, I can't deal with that shit. I've never had that problem with somebody who's like a more feminine woman. Like, it's simple. Like, do you want to be in a relationship? No. And then they leave. Or do you want to be in a relationship? Yes. And then they stay. It's not that, like, stupid, ridiculous, middle ground, fuckity Facebook status bullshit. Tucker is heir to the Swanson frozen food dynasty. Tucker's really good at pretending he's one of the little guys when he's insanely rich. And lives someplace that... And lives somewhere that most of his audience would not be able to afford. To be clear, I'm not into the uncooperative asshole personality type. So then I'm not sure what you're looking for the future. Lewis already said no single mothers. All men would say the same. Not true. Not all men. There are men that are hardcore simps for women that want to be able to elevate themselves and show themselves as an ally to a progressive movement by saying that single mothers are... There's nothing different between a single mother and a woman that doesn't have a child. There's totally no difference in the experience, and I genuinely don't believe that those people can like live with themselves. I don't. But there are people that would disagree with that. It's just most of them are not realistic or honest with themselves. What happened to these more feminine women? I mean, I had, a lot of the ones that I dated. I mean, I enjoyed their company. They enjoyed my company. One of them moved away for a job. It wasn't like something where we were just across a state or something like that. It was an entirely different continent. We still keep in touch to this day from time to time. Who else? This was like in the earlier days of my business where I was doing most of the work myself. If I was like, and also we weren't that far along in our relationship. If we were far along in the relationship and my business was where it was now, that's the type of woman where I'd move to a different country to be with you. But in the beginning, I really didn't have like the option. I wasn't famous, anything like that yet. And I was doing all the work myself. And I also wasn't far enough along in it where I'd be willing to. Long distance relationships don't work because at the end of the day, in a long distance relationship, what makes it awkward is you're not worth moving for. There's that fundamental awkwardness, that pink elephant in the room, which is you are not worth moving for. I know a dude who calls his wife his partner because he thinks calling her a wife degrades her. Yeah, that's some pretty simp shit right there. That's some simpy shit. Yeah, like, I mean, if a woman called me a husband, I wouldn't really call that degrading. And if I called her a wife, I wouldn't find that degrading. Yeah, that I don't know. That's some simp shit. I wouldn't be able to fuck with that. The term partner just sounds cold to me. It makes it seem sexually ambiguous. Yeah, fuck that. That's fucking weird. If you're married to a woman, call her your wife. If you're married to a guy, call him your husband. Like, I think that's just some basic shit. But again, like, the type of person that's actually going to argue something like that, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I don't want to be with people like that. I don't want somebody like that. That has absolutely nothing to do with why a man will want to take care of an opposite child. Lewis is sitting behind bars. He is. Yeah, they never say anything like that. That'd be a turnoff. I'm a boss equals yikes. Yeah, and here's the thing. Every woman I've met that said she's a boss is not an actual boss. Because I've checked them on this. Like, usually, this is the... I already know the first date is over when I hear this shit. And admittedly, I've gotten better at vetting so that I don't even bother going out on first dates with women who would do this type of shit. This only happened when I'm younger. So I used... There's one question you can ask when a woman says that she's a boss that will offend the fuck out of her, but it's so funny. You know what you say? How many employees do you have? What do you mean? How many employees do you have? Well, none. You know, I have like this business that I run out of my kitchen. And it's like, so you're an employee. What do you mean? Well, are you doing the work? Yes. Well, okay, that actually means you're an employee. You're not a boss. Well, no, I'm a boss because I came... Like, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're not a boss. Here's the thing. People who are... How many times has somebody on this channel heard me refer to myself as a boss? Over the past 10 years on YouTube, how many times, of all the times that I've referred to myself, have I said, I am the boss? Probably pretty rare, right? If ever. The person who has to say that they're the boss is not a boss. Somebody who has to have a name tag that says that they're the assistant manager is no assistant manager. There's this book from John Maxwell. It's about the different levels of authority. And again, essentially the lowest level of authority in the book, literally the lowest level, like level 1, is you need to tell people that you are the boss. If you have to tell somebody that you're a boss, you're not a fucking boss. That's called positional authority. That's the lowest level. You're a boss. Here's the thing. So before I even called Steve the manager of the store, like 3 years before I even called him a manager, when he walked in the store, everybody deferred to him because he was the boss. He didn't say he was a boss. He didn't have that position from me, but everybody knew that he was the boss because he took care of shit. When there was a problem, he was confident in coming up with a solution. He would be the first one to come up with something. He was very assertive when it came to coming up with a solution. You know, he would take responsibility and accountability as if that was his problem, even if it belonged to another employee and it wasn't his job. So he was essentially the boss. He never had to say he was, but he was. So when someone's like, I'm a boss, bitch, it's like, no, you're not. Because A, you had to say it. And B, you don't have any fucking employees. No, get out of here. Like, GTFO. You don't manage anybody. I don't refer to myself as a boss when I'm on dates. It just sounds douchey. Like when somebody asks, what do you do? I say, I fix laptop motherboards. I show people how to fix laptop motherboards on the internet. Like that's usually what I say. I fix laptop motherboards. I show people how to fix laptop motherboards on the internet, and I pretend I'm a lobbyist, which is true. You know, if any of the women that I've gone on, I didn't learn this until a few days ago, but apparently women that I've gone on dates with tend to watch my live streams. Some of them are women I've had good dates with, and some of them are women that I've had horrible dates with. So that's very interesting. It's a very interesting dynamic to know that they watch. But if any of those are in the chat, you can vouch for this. Is that not how I introduce myself? Do I introduce myself as a boss? Or do I introduce myself saying, I fix laptops, I show people how to do it on the internet, and I pretend I'm a lobbyist? Which is true. I don't know how to fuck the lobby. I don't know how to get a bill passed. I'm making this shit up as I go. I don't even wear a fucking tie when I show up to the legislature. But like there's something douchey about saying I'm a boss. Outside of, let's just put feminism aside for a moment. Let's just put all the progressive ideologies and all this other stuff and all the baggage associated with it on either side of the political spectrum an aisle aside. Using that type of language is just douchey. It's just, I don't know, it's something really unattractive about it. By the way, let me know if the microphone is still making a clicking noise. If it is, I got to replace the headphone jack in here again. What's the hardest part about dating? I don't know. I think all of it, to be honest with you. Advice, question mark, question mark, question mark. That's a word. That's not a question. A question usually has a sentence. A subject, a predicate. You don't have a subject or a predicate, so you don't have a sentence. And if you don't have a sentence, there's no way for me to really give you advice. My mother remarried. She called my stepfather's children awful names. My stepfather should have walked away immediately. He died a lonely man. I'm sorry to hear that, David. That sounds shitty. Jamie said I've been married, etc., various relationships. Today it would take a heck of a man to gain entry to my life in a substantial way. The term boss is meaningless in most. They use boss as a personality, not a profession. Yeah, and that's just so fucking unattractive. I'll tell you, I had 1,000 employees under me. Every one of them would ride into hell in a gas can for me because of respect. I respect that about you, Ann, and I bet you wouldn't hover positional authority over them, and that's probably why they respected. One of the many reasons they respected you. It is clicking. I broke my headphone jack on this phone, didn't I? Oh well. You don't say you're a boss because you're secure and modest, also smart. Nothing makes people resent you more than telling them you're their boss. Yeah, okay, I unplugged the mic. How bad is this? Agreed, boss equals douchey. The clicking only happens, yeah, because the thing is I can feel the microphone moving back and forth in my hands. I actually feel it moving back and forth. The only reason I'm really keeping the S10e is for the headphone jack, but I've been through 2 headphone jacks in 3 months at this point. So I'm thinking having a microphone that plugs into the phone may not actually be the best way to go. I'm thinking I might wind up just getting rid of this thing. But now you're going to hear wind noise. You're going to hear a lot of wind noise. Still clicky. Okay, is Martha trolling me? Like, you guys gotta let me know if Martha's trolling me. I gotta know, and I have to remember to... Wind is better than clicking. So Crazy says clicking. Not really much wind, if any. How much charge did you get? How much did it cost? I don't know. I don't know. Okay. I don't remember what it started at, so I can't really tell you. Okay. You back to LG? No. So there's 2 problems with LG. Go to a video I did on this channel where I compare the LG V60s to a Samsung S9. So there's 2 major problems with LG and why they should never make a smartphone again. The V60 was advertised as a smartphone that has... The V60 is advertised as a smartphone with high-end audio. The first thing it does is it adds processing to the audio signal for the microphone input jack, which makes everything sound really tinny. The second problem with the LG V60 is that the internal microphone is very sibilant and sounds like garbage. So the LG V60 has horrible sound. It's actually the worst sounding phone I've ever had because it's the only Android phone I've ever used that applies special processing to the incoming audio signal on the microphone port for no good reason whatsoever. So you can't use the LG V60 with a microphone because it won't work. And the second thing is the microphone built into it is really, really bad. Really bad. It's very tinny, very sibilant. It's horrible. It's absolute garbage. Let her think a man is a jerk for not wanting to date a single mom. Most men don't want to deal with it. Yeah, like, again, you can call me a jerk. I don't care. I'm not a jerk for not considering single moms. Here's the thing. If you had a kid with somebody else, why should I have to raise that kid? Why is it that the man that had the kid isn't the one to raise the kid? Why do I have to raise another dude's kid? So while I was working and building my business and working 16 hours a day, waking up at 6 in the morning, getting to work at 7:30, leaving work at 11 o'clock, doing everything I needed to do, being responsible, this other dude was out there having sex without a condom with women he didn't want to marry, and you were fucking him instead of fucking me. So why should I now, after you have had a child, now that you have this massive liability that is not mine, why do I have to take care of that kid instead of find a woman that I can have my own child with? Why is it that the responsible people have to take an L for irresponsible people? Like, I'm already doing that through taxes because my taxes are already funding many of the services that you're likely getting as a result of being a young person that had a kid before you could afford it. Like, that's an L that I can't really do anything about. You already got that part. Why do I now have to date you? Like, why is it... I don't get this. Like, why are people not allowed to have preferences? If a woman is allowed to say... If a woman's allowed to say, I don't want to be with a man who's 5'6", why can't I say, I don't want to be with a woman who has somebody else's child? Like, that is completely fucking fair. And I think, like, this whole shaming thing, like, you're an asshole for not wanting to take care of another man's kid from a woman that wouldn't have fucked you until she had a child. Fuck that! Because here's the thing, these women that have had... Most of the women that have had kids with the type of dude that doesn't stick around for them, they were fucking the asshole, not you. Like, they would have looked you over immediately. The reason that they're looking at you now is because they have a kid and that's people want them. Most of these people that I meet that are single moms, these women wanted... These are not the type of women that wanted anything to do with me. when I was 23, 24, 26, 28. They want something to do with me now because they have a kid and no money to take care of it. And no, go to the person that created the child, ask him to pay for it, not me. I want my own children with somebody that wanted to be with me to begin with. What if the man died? That's not a single mom, that's a widow. Widow and single mom are separate. So widow is an entirely different category from single mother. These are separate. Even though at the end of the day, technically it's the same outcome, it's a different story altogether. Single mom couldn't keep the dad around, she'll get rid of you too. Listen, it's one or the other. Either A, you married an amazing man, but then you left the amazing man, or B, you married an amazing man and drove him nuts to the point where he left, or C, you chose to have sex with a piece of shit and give him the honor of a child. I don't care if it's A, B, or C. I don't want to date you. I'll fix your MacBook. I'll say hi to you in the grocery store. I'll be polite. If you drop a box, I will help you pick up that box and get all your stuff back in the box to help you carry it up to your apartment. I just don't want to sleep with you or marry you. I'll be nice. If you come to a repair workshop, I'll help teach you how to fix something for free. Like, I don't want to marry you. I don't understand how that's so controversial. It's genuinely crazy that that's controversial. Shakira had children out of wedlock. What about her? We have certain celebrity exceptions. You might have certain celebrity exceptions. No, but even then, I'm just maybe for Shakira. I think about it. I'll think about it. I'll think about it, you know, maybe. Lewis is becoming based in red pill. Like, this is not even red. This is what drives me nuts. There's a lot of red pill shit I disagree with. I don't even think this is red pill. This is common sense, man. This is common sense. Somebody that thinks, you know what? I'm 19 years old. I don't have a job. This man doesn't have a job and is going out with 5 different women. Let me have unprotected sex with him and have a child. Like, I don't, you're not the person I want to be with. And again, it's okay if women have standards. If they say, listen, I don't want to go out with a guy that failed college, who had to start his own business because he couldn't get a job. That's fine. I accept that. If a woman says, listen, I don't want to date a dude that's 5'6", that's a midget, it is what it is. I accept that. But when I then say, I do not want to date somebody who comes with the liability of another man's child, you accept it. Like, that's not red pill. That's really, that is not red pill. Like, I'm going to put my foot down on that. That's common sense. That's common sense. And here's the thing, it goes both ways. It goes both ways. If you're a woman and you say to yourself, you know what? I don't want to date a man that has kids, that has like 2 or 3 kids. I understand why entirely. Now, adopting children after having a relationship and getting married, that's a different thing altogether. So when it comes to adoption, the thing that makes adoption different, 2 things. A, you get to do the you have the dating process. So you have the dating process. After the dating process, you have the relationship process. After the relationship, you're married. And then once you've been married for a year or 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, maybe even 10 years, then you adopt a kid. So you have the experience of being together. But you have the experience, like that entire time that you're building a relationship, you're doing it without the stress of there's a kid in the house. That's different. That's different. Adopting a kid after you've had a relationship is different. And also, you're not necessarily dealing with somebody that, I'm trying to think of where I found this from. It was something along the line, like, this is gonna sound so fucked up, but it was something like, even a bird with his little bird brain knows that it should make a nest before hatching it, before like having and hatching the eggs. I don't know what it was about that, but I remember reading this somewhere and just laughing hysterically for 5 minutes. Even a bird with its little bird brain knows that it should, prepare a nest before laying the eggs and having a kid. Like, I don't want to be with somebody that doesn't have that level of responsibility. The same way that a woman will say, okay, this guy has a 400 credit score, no job, lives in his parents' basement and has a drug problem. I don't want to be with a man that has that level of responsibility. Like, again, fair game. 100% fair game. Take this TL. Does anybody know this song that came from this band that went bankrupt right before they released a song about men that are poor? I always credit this song for climate change. It's in the tip of my tongue. The group name is an acronym. Somebody remind me. The group name is an acronym. You have a better experience dating foreign women that live in the same country? I haven't. No, I haven't had any difference in experience. But I haven't done a lot of that. So what is a song? It's TLC. Okay, here we go. So no scrubs. I don't want no scrub. A scrub is a guy who can't get no love from me, sticking his head out the passenger side of his best friend's ride trying to holler at me. Do you know how much that song has contributed to climate change? Seriously. Fuck that. I'm not riding in the passenger seat of my best friend's ride. I'm no scrub. How many men leased vehicles they couldn't afford because they didn't want to be seen driving with their friend? That's global warming. But in all seriousness, when you think of that song, I don't want no scrub, a guy that lives with his parents. She mentions in the song, if you live with your parents, if you're broke. Now, what tends to make people broke? One of the things that can make people broke is a lack of responsibility. Now, what does it tell me when somebody has a kid that they can't afford with a man that's not going to stick around? Gee, there might be a responsibility problem. But you can't say, again, there can be literally, you can go platinum. You can become a millionaire. You can have a career off of saying the type of shit that you don't want in a man. But like, God forbid, I say I don't want to date a single mother. Some woman comes in here and says I'm an asshole. Show me the dudes that live with their parents that are broke and destitute with 400 credit scores that you date. Let's see you put your money where your mouth is. I bet you don't. Anyway. Done with that. That was a triggering rant. Triggered rant. You can't have a preference. You really can't have a preference. My friend got banned from Bumble because he said that he's only interested in biological women. Like, he did it. We did a podcast on this. It was 3 hours a few weeks ago, and it was on the Talking Shit podcast, and I was on there for 25 minutes. Like he said, he didn't say anything bad. It was nothing transphobic. He said, I am interested in biological females only. That was it. And he had his account deleted. Like, why can't you express a fucking preference? The world has truly gone crazy. And again, I refuse to acknowledge any of this as red pill. I call this common sense. A woman that does not want to date a man, that lives with his parents, that doesn't have any money, that has a fucked up credit score, that's common sense. A man that does not want to date somebody that had somebody else's kid at 19 years old because, I don't know, I guess 32 forms of birth control isn't enough, with a dude that's not going to stick around, I'm not interested in that. I don't want to deal with your baby daddy. I don't want to deal with your baby daddy drama. I don't want to deal with you. Okay. And this is not... Oh, fuck. Somebody took my goddamn parking spot. You know what? I'm going to take this. I'm going to take somebody else's parking spot. How about that? You gave my parking spot to somebody else? I'm going to take your parking spot, you motherfucker. How about that? How about that? That's right. That's right. We're going to take your parking spot, you prick. By the way, guess how much a park space costs? I'm curious if any of you can guess. You know what? Some idiot here is going to hit that, so I should probably kick this stone back a little bit. And I'll go back a little bit. I can't trust people in New York to drive. I feel like most chat want Lewis to find a new girl or likes watching Days of Our Lives. True. Maybe this will be like the next real estate series video. This could be like the next real estate series. Like where everybody says they want board repair and then I wind up getting triple the viewership to look at empty real estate. My live channel usually gets 60 viewers when I'm driving, 40 to 60 viewers when driving. Yet today, I have 198 viewers. Do you know why I have 198 viewers while driving? Because of this conversation, most likely. Okay, there we go. This should be pretty idiot-proof. I'm drunk, heartbroken, and depressed. Why are you heartbroken, man? Who broke your heart? How'd they do? Rossman relations. You guys are nuts. There are tons of transsexuals and dating sites. It's one reason I gave up on dating. Yeah, if I say that my preference is for a man or a woman, I really don't want something that is neither showing up. It gets annoying. But you get my point. Like, it shouldn't be that difficult to express a base. It really shouldn't be difficult to express a preference. I have a preference for penguins. And listen, if you want to have a penguin, by all means, I respect your preference. Have a penguin. Enjoy the penguin. I don't know if the penguin's going to enjoy you. I don't really know how that shit works. Actually, it kind of sounds a little rapey. I think I take that back. Yeah, I don't think the penguin's going to want to fuck you. But they still let broke dudes smash and they dipped later. Again, that's just, yeah. Single moms that expect men that they're not married to pay for kids are, I'm just not into that. No offense if you are, you do you. But my friend Dr. Evil puts it best. He says there is no special fast pass to heaven for men that marry single moms and raise their kids. There's no fast track to heaven for that. It doesn't fix you, it doesn't rehabilitate your credit score. You know. You still have the turnkey box that's in the MacBook to get an estimate. I think so. If it's out of stock, I'm gonna blame Patrick. I think we do. If a man gets in a relationship with a woman, it's expected that he help pay for the kid. A woman getting with a man with a kid, the woman is not expected to pay for this child. Huh? What if Lewis dates a single mom, but the real dad stops paying child support? Is Lewis supposed to pick up the slack? I don't know. I'm not interested in figuring any of that out. Admittedly, my experience has only been with dating one single mother. I've only dated one single mother. We went out 3 times, and that was enough for me. Dad Gooey says single moms are the bare minimum to keep you around to use as a provider should never treat you how they treat their baby daddy. One of the most interesting things, there was this interview, I forget where I saw it, but it was somebody asked point blank. He said something like, Miss, if your son at 19 years old brought home a woman that was 18 years old with a 3-year-old child, is that who you would want, or would you prefer that your son date somebody or be with somebody that does not have kids? And she said, I would prefer that he can do what he wants. He's like, that's not what I asked. I asked, what would you prefer for him? What would you want for your son? And she said, I would prefer that he date somebody with no kids. And she goes, okay, so you want something different for your own son. You want something different for your son than for the person that you're marrying. Like, you see how it's common sense enough that people won't even want their own kids to deal with that, but they'll want the guy, like a grown-up guy, to deal with it. Nope. I'm a single dad. I don't date single moms either. It's just HP Nordic Sonoma. Not sure how you feel about Google Pixel phones, but the 5 is a headphone jack. I'll take a look at it. Hello, Alana. Do you plan your trip for charging stations? I don't. The map does. The car GPS does it for you, which is convenient. Damn, that guy's taking a piss in the street, and his dick is facing the street side, not the building side. That's kind of nasty. He's not even peeing behind a tree. Like, you should at least have the... This block is filled with trees. You should at least have the courtesy to pee by a tree. What the fuck? The woman I dated from another country was from Albania.
Because, they be looking, but they don't be looking like
Guitar Jam says, dated a single mom and she would not want to dance, drink, chat, or do anything during our meetups, but she wanted to just feel wanted and waste my time to see if I commit, which I told her early no. Interesting. Have you considered going to Southeast Asia to find a wife? It's what I'd do if I was moderately successful financially. No. I don't think I should have to go to another country to find a woman. There's 320 plus million people in America. Approximately half of them are women. I don't know, maybe half of that are of legal age, half of that are maybe single, then half of that are sane. So let's see, half of half. See, if half are women, 160, half of that maybe legal age, so that brings us down to like 80 million. Half of them are single, that kind of brings us down to 40 million. Half of them are sane, maybe 20 million. So it's like, yeah, there's got to be at least 20 million women in America to pick from. I don't see the need to go to another country to find a woman. There should be enough here. That's Rossman math right there. Rossman math and statistics. I think the odds are better in another country where average American guys are more appealing. True, but I don't know. Like a part of me would feel like a loser. I'm not saying that I would be a loser, but I think I'd feel like a loser. Like, like for example, New York City has 8.5 million people. Let's just go through the same math. Half are women, 4.2. Half are of legal age, 2.1. Half are single, 1.05, 1 million. Half are sane, so like 500,000 women, right? So there should be 500,000 women to choose from. Like if I need to go somewhere else because I can't find one out of 500,000 that's into me that is a match, like that probably denotes something wrong with me, more so than something wrong with the area. Actually, I gotta cut that down a little bit. Probably 10% of the 500,000. Let's say that 1% of them are would not immediately dump me when they hear me scream pro-life during a pro-choice protest. So that would come out to 5,000. So yeah, 5,000 women in New York. I think that's a fair assumption. In New York, maybe 1% would be closer to politically compatible. No worries, Jim Hook. Happy 4th to you too. Happy Independence Day. I hope you guys get freedom in Australia someday, the way we have freedom in America. Do you have an Independence Day in Australia? We have an Independence Day here. Hopefully someday you guys become free from the shackles of tyranny that Paul Daniels puts upon you. Use it. Rossman math, you messed. Why complicate it by choosing women from overseas with a foreign language and culture and likely ulterior motive to date? Brilliant suggestion. I honestly wouldn't care if I was with a woman that used me for my money. I mean, I'm going to use my partner. Like when I come home after almost breaking campaign finance law with $900,000, and I feel like jumping off a bridge from stress, am I not using my partner as a therapist? Kind of am. When I have sex with my partner, am I not using them for their looks and their body? When I'm planning a trip, am I not, or if my partner plans a vacation with me, am I not using them as a travel agent? I don't worry about getting used. I don't mind being used. And I really wouldn't mind a woman that used me for my money. Being used is not the problem. It's if it's not reciprocal. See, if I'm with somebody that's using me, I need to be able to use them back. And if you're using each other mutually, I don't know, to me that's called a relationship. Maybe that's why my relationships are so fucked. Gosh, I gotta get a way to turn on. I really gotta get one of those Wi-Fi enabled air conditioners or something. Jesus Christ, it's hot as hell in here. Holy shit, it's hot in here. Exactly, everyone uses the other person. You know, when somebody says, I don't want to be used. I've heard this more from women than men, and again, it's not because women say it more, it's just because I don't date men. What do you mean you don't want to be used? I mean, why not? Why not? Why not? You should be used. I should be used. We should both be used, but we should be using each other mutually. My cat uses me. I use my kitty. For my kitty, I serve as a can opener. And in exchange, my kitty provides me companionship and love. Where's I put my water bottle? Imp, that's a super chat only question. You get an answer to that for $50. We're getting capitalist here. Oh, sit down in the chair for a moment. Just change the lights. I have shit taste in cats. You don't have shit taste in cats, Jamie. Some of them want to use you, some of them want to be used by you. I suppose. That old song. I'm a sweaty mess. My hair is all frizzy from sweating. I gotta wash this chair after I sit in it. My hubby and I use each other as therapists all the time. Out of the 5,000, if you ask 100 out per week, you'll get through them in a year. Okay, that's funny. That's David's math. Thanks for the ride. Fun to drive to New York. Thanks, Chris. I never had a mullet, Joseph. I don't know if you're talking to me or somebody else in chat. 5 years of being single has had upsides, but downsides, but incredible upsides for self and professional development. Find a nice girl in Nashua. Are there any women that are single in Nashua? Nashua seems mostly to be older people who've had families and younger people that have already had, younger people that moved up from Boston after the pandemic that were like on their way to marriage and children, but have decided to move here before they have kids. So like they're already, that neighborhood seems to be the people from Boston that were about to get married and have kids, or married and wanted to like finally move in together, that during the pandemic decided, let's move to Nashua. I can see Lewis being on 30-Day Fiancé. What's that? I'm missing something. I'd rather feel like a loser and be in a relationship than be single for years and years. I see your point. Okay, I raise you one. Let's see. Scroll. Doesn't. How the fuck did this become a dating channel? I think you put it well the other night that shaming me into dating people not interested in is not going to work. True. Can you imagine being Lewis's future kid? Just a fun thought I had. That's kind of weird. So much issue regarding single moms. Reality is that whether Lewis says it or not, actions will be the same as well as the most of the men out there. What do you mean actions will be the same? That's too vague to make any sense. Does Shane still work with you? He was awesome. Shane does still work here. What if she's single because husband passed away? And his genius right... Okay, that is a widow, not a single mom. That's a separate category. Do I recliner? Yes, recline. That feels good. Okay. What am I reading? Points. This. I like this recliner. This is comfortable. Read. Combine speed dating with border pair. If she lets you teach her, it might be an option. That's kind of strange. That's kind of weird. Don't combine PP bus and speed dating. Have you considered Oh, I read that already. What happened? A single mom took his parking spot. Oh, man. Carrie says if she's a single mom with small kids, she honestly doesn't want to date you, either she wants to bank you. Maybe she does want to date, I don't know. Both are possible. Lewis says underlying resentment. It's really not underlying resentment. See, this is the kind of, again, this is the thing that's really annoying. Like when men express preferences, you're a misogynist, you're an incel, you have resentment, who hurt you. Like, it's a preference, man. It really isn't resentment. I don't want to take care of another man's kids. I don't want to be with somebody that was irresponsible enough to have children with somebody who's not sticking around. No. if I had dated somebody that was crazy, and instead of leaving the woman that was crazy, I impregnated her and then got stuck with kids, I would expect the woman to judge me on that. You chose to have children with somebody who was crazy. Why? Nope. You don't have to be resentful to have a preference or a standard. So you're saying we need to make a song, I don't want to date no single... No, I'm not saying that. It makes bad music. No, that would make bad music. TLC is not a Diddy product. P. Diddy was a douchebag in many ways. There's a whole book written on how he was, what much of a douchebag he was. That song came out before climate change became a buzzword. Yeah, why wasn't it a buzzword? Because that song hadn't come out yet. Okay. How many kids do you want? I probably want 2 or 3. Ideally, I'd want 1, but the reason I'm asking for 2 or 3 is if one of them winds up getting, leukemia or cancer or getting hit by a bus or something, I don't want to wind up with 0. So I think 2 or 3 is a safe number to me. Not the TLC song again, says Carrie. When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up? I wanted to be a psychologist. Those shoes are very comfortable, Carrie. No offense, but it sounds like your mother sounds like she was bipolar. No, my mother wasn't bipolar. She had anxiety, depression, and severe OCD. But that, not bipolar. You shave your armpit. No, I don't like shaving very much. Shaving my face is enough of a pain in the ass. You made this a dating channel and your chat was more than happy to join in. What about dating an Italian girl? My mother's side of my family was Italian. I got to know the mother's side of my mother's side of the family very well. I have never dated an Italian woman. I'm going to leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. The preamble of the Canadian Constitution is peace, order, and good government. None of this. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, silliness. I like the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Liberty. Independence. Independence Day. Okay, so you said, somebody said cooperation is mutual, using is one-sided. But I think, so would you be mad if a woman were with you for your money, if in exchange for you providing for her, she was kind, caring, a good companion, a good therapist when you needed somebody to talk to, and had sex with you 3 times a day? Like, would you really care that one of the main things that attracted her to you was that you were a good and stable provider that made good money and could provide her a certain lifestyle? Like, would you care at that point, or would you consider that to still be using? Because when somebody says, I wouldn't want a woman who's using me for my money, a lot of the times they don't even care if they're actually getting all that other stuff in return. They don't care. They still consider it using, because it's not like a 50-50 relationship where the guy makes 60K and the girl makes 60K and they put it all in the same pot and use it to spend money on stuff. I didn't mean that in a negative way. I personally agree with your assessment of single moms. Okay. My grandparents had 2 children, outlive them both. Life is crazy. You told me about that in email. I don't know. I would never want to outlive my kids. That sounds that sounds horrible. That really sounds bad. That sounds really, really depressing. If you're having sex 3 times a day, when are you working? Not going to comment on that. Money can't buy me love, everyone tells me so. But that's the thing. What is love? Is love that little tingly feeling you feel? Is love that little chemistry thing? Or is love when you're changing? Is love when somebody gets sick and you take care of them? Is love when somebody has a horrible week and they lose their job and they lose their reputation and you help them chart a path back to success and you're with them holding their hand every step of the way? Is love when you get screwed over and you lose $30,000 in a day and that person's still there and like charts you through the anxiety? I think love is bullshit, to be honest with you. Like that idea of love isn't like like love in terms of the tingly feeling. Love is something you work at. It's a choice. It's responsibility. It's When are you leaving for Austin? Probably tomorrow. Do all the Italian girls in New York still have the Italian flag emblem on their Nissan Altima? Oh, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. You actually went for it. That's crazy. At least you acknowledge your faults and don't hold resentment. It's easy to get into red pill mindset. It's not entirely wrong, but yeah, I have a lot of faults. There's a lot that's wrong with me. And again, I don't see this as a red pill mindset. I see this as common sense. Red pill mindset to me is when you hear somebody saying, like if a woman messages you, go out of your way to not message her back for a certain number of days to build her interest and bullshit like that. Or like don't talk to her because we don't love these hoes. Like that's what I consider to be red pill. I don't fuck with that. If somebody sends me a message and my phone is in front of me, I will answer it. If I'm in a meeting, I won't, but if I'm free, I will. If somebody calls me and I'm free, I answer it. I'm not here to play mind games and weird psychological tricks to make it seem like I'm busier than I am to, quote, build your interest and all that other bullshit. I really just see this stuff as basic common sense. If she could contribute something of equal value to the both of us, then it wouldn't be a problem. No, otherwise it's bad. Okay, interesting. Love is a myth. Relationships needs are trust and loyalty. It's not just. I don't even think it's just trust and loyalty. I think it's trust and. What's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, you're right. Loyalty, trust and loyalty. The ability to stick with it and work together. That's what matters, and that's what allows you to actually build a tingly feeling and build chemistry and everything else later on. When you actually agree to work together. The women that I've had the best sex with are the women that in the beginning I had the worst sex with. But it was because this entire idea of it's just going to be a magical moment where just everything clicks and there's a spark that flies. I think that's just a bunch of cope. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. I really do. I think the stuff that works, the stuff where you actually feel that way, takes work, a decision. It's not a spark. It's not a spontaneous shit. Let's work. Let's make this work. Let's figure out how to make this work. You build it together. You have to be willing to build it together, though. And that's an awkward conversation to have with somebody nowadays, I think. That waiting to message them back BS didn't work out well. Yeah, fuck that shit. I fell for that recently. If somebody takes 2 days or a week to get back to you on something, just delete their number. Unless they're a CEO of a company, delete their number. I run 2 nonprofits, lobbying in 6 states, a YouTube channel with 1 million subscribers, and a 12-employee company. If somebody sends me a message, I just fucking reply to the message. I'm not thinking about this shit. I married my wife, both broke, and after 10 years, we have our own business, a dental laboratory. All this was made by love and able to support each other when we feel low and worthless. That's awesome. See, again, you worked at it. It wasn't like some. I met you, and there was this immediate spark that flew, and that spark created a Disney moment, and then every like it's not sexy in the beginning. You build the sexiness together. You make it sexy. I'm a bartender, and I've seen every imaginable story. Yes, there are couples with the spark and love at first sight. Okay, perhaps. Perhaps. But I don't think it's going to be like that for everybody. I hate how the term Red Bull has been co-opted. The original use in the Matrix of seeing the brutal truth of the world instead of the comfortable lies insightful, but now it's about misogyny. Yeah. Hey, Louis Scott here. Hope you're doing well. Hello, Lauren. How's it going? Hope you're having a lovely evening. Happy July 4th to you, my friend. And thank you. Love is when you care for someone who, no matter how much they hurt you or are a distance, you would do something for them. That reminds me of the giving tree, and I've always thought the giving tree was an abusive relationship. Would you let your kids watch all your YouTube videos? Yeah, why not? The Giving Tree is a story. Made me cry the first time I saw it. Watched Lewis have a spark and fireworks with a single mom. I actually did. 5 years ago. And I cut that shit off real quick. I don't make life decisions based on a tingly feeling in my dick. It's just... You believe that kids should be spanked when bad? No. I don't believe in spanking. I didn't get spanked as a kid ever. And if my dad was able to discipline me in a manner where I grew up to be somebody who worked 12 to 16 hours a day and has morals and provides for people around him and tries to be the change he wants to be in the world and didn't do drugs and all this shit without ever having to hit me, then I should be able to do that for my own children. If my dad could do that in the environment the fucked up environment that I grew up in, then I can definitely do that for my children in a not fucked up environment. Lewis, you and Eric have opposite opinions in the Giving Tree, more aligned with your viewpoint. I don't think we do have opposite opinions on it, because when she saw that with me, she cried. And I think the reason she cried is because she sees herself as the Giving Tree. I see her as the Giving Tree too. She gives all of herself to people. Like, she genuinely, for the right person, she literally, she gives every single thing, even if she shouldn't be. It's just who she is. I would never want to see Erica get ground down to a stump. The way my dad explained it is, listen, if I'm 200 pounds and 6 foot tall, and you're like 20 pounds and like 2 feet tall, and I have to use physical force against you to do something, what the fuck does that say for me? True. Maybe, Anne. Maybe. Final Fantasy IX was probably one of the best pieces of media that I saw as a kid. I was 11 years old when I got Final Fantasy IX. It was that in game is a repudiation of nihilism in every form. The idea of aligning yourself towards a mission and purpose. The idea that life is not meaningless, even if there's a 1% chance of success. You'd rather fight for that 1% chance of success than get steamrolled. That you can make friends along the way, that you could change their hearts and minds, that you can inspire people to change their hearts and minds and switch away from evil. How Zidane and Garnett get Steiner to stop simping for the Queen. That you can overcome your identity. Vivi doesn't have to fight alongside the black mages and destroy cities. He can be on the good side, even though everybody that looks like him is on the bad side. There's so many good messages in that game. I think every kid should play Final Fantasy IX. Would you date a dwarf if she had a great personality and knew how to make an awesome lasagna? I don't know. I'll be honest with you, I haven't thought about it. I don't know. I'm not going to say no immediately. It's probably a no, but I don't know. I met my roommate's girlfriend's mom today, who was shocked that I am the same age as her daughter. Roommate's girlfriend's mom. She said I look 15 years younger. I need to take a fake ID that says I look the age I look. Huh. My bio mother used to beat the crap out of me. I would beg her to stop and stuff at times. It doesn't sound like a great person, Lauren. I hope you've separated from her. New York City may have lots of attractive young women, but from what I've gathering from your experience, it seems despite the quantity, there's a lack of quality. I wouldn't say that there's a lack of quality. I would say that there's a lack of women that are interested in me and a lack of women that I'm interested in. Just because I'm not interested in them doesn't, or they're not interested in me, does not mean that they're not quality. And to say that would be a massive cope on my part. Yeah, I'd be like that. That would be a hardcore cope. That in a city of 8.5 million people, it's lacking quality, simply because the women that I'm interested in are not interested in me. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. It would be easy to say that a woman that doesn't see the value in going out with me must clearly not be a quality woman, but that would be such a narcissistic cope thing to say. It's just, ugh. No. Tempting at times to go down that rabbit hole, but don't do that. It's an ugly and dark place that you go down when you start doing that shit. That's a dark rabbit hole to go down, where you assume that it's the rest of, it's not, oh yeah, it's definitely the rest of the world. It couldn't possibly be you. And when Tim Pool said that, it's definitely all the women, it's not me, is like one of the most famous quotes in his channel. Yeah, like with my dad, we were married at this point. But yeah, no, it's definitely, I don't think it's me. No, it's definitely not me. Yeah, I think it was Tim Pool that said that. It was a famous quote. So, yeah, it's definitely all the women. Country. Yeah, It's not. You don't take the easy excuses. There's tons of quality women in New York City. I know because I've spoken to many of them. The ones that are like really high quality, really interesting, they got. Yeah, they're not interested in me. Let's see. I never got spanked or beat after I was older than say 8. But if my parents told me to stop something and I didn't, out came the leather belt. Yeah, screw that shit. I'm not doing that to my kids. That's fucked up. There's a meme about the people you see at the gym, for instance, working on themselves. Those are the quality folks who are tired of getting played. It seems fairly accurate these days. I've never seen a gym meme. If you're not making progress, you're making excuses. I would tend to agree with that, Brilski. And thank you for the FAQ. I too spread the gospel of Final Fantasy IX. That is a good game, man. Very good game. I still talk to her, but was removed from her years ago because it's hard. She uses my dead name and old pronouns, etc. Oh, fuck. I'm sorry to hear that. I've never really had a problem accepting somebody's different name or different pronouns if they transitioned. Like, all I ask is that you not be an asshole, you know? Like, if you're not an asshole, I'm not gonna be... If you're not an asshole to me, I'll be considerate of you. If I can do that as, you know, as somebody who's not even a family member, it's got to be messed up if you can't even get that level of respect from a family member. I'm sorry to hear that. I went to Catholic and later Mennonite school. The strap was featured in both. Yeah, my mother said that she went to Catholic school, and she grew up in the 60s and the 50s, and yeah, they would beat you with a stick. Do you feel crazy being asked the same questions over and over again? I don't feel crazy. I'm just going to start being a capitalist and say super chat. If you want an answer to a question that I've answered a million times, I'm going to cash in on it. I'll bring in some money. The weirdest guy about relationships is Elon Musk. I don't know if it's cool or not, but his password named son gonna feel weird when you grow up with such a name. Yeah, celebrities that name their kids weird shit, like they're not thinking about how much shit they're gonna getting picked on at school. And that's fucked up. It used to be more common for punishment of children with leather straps, but now American society views it as more for punishment. Because it is. If you're 6 foot tall, 200 pounds, beating a kid that's like 30 pounds is abuse and fucking retarded. I swear, every time I hear a parent say, I'm beating my like 7-year-old kid or I'm smacking him, I just want to go up to them and smack them. It's fucking tempting. Okay, if you as an adult that can bench press 135 pounds want to beat a kid that can bench press 20 pounds, I as an adult that can bench press 300 pounds want to go up to you and kick the living fuck out of you. Like, that's the way I feel when I hear that shit. If you are going to beat up a kid, then I want to beat up you. I think that's fair, or beat you up. That would be fair. See you later, Lauren. Sorry if I dug into something that was sensitive for you, but I hope the best for you. Hug. Here. Ann and I are going to give you a hug. Ann gives good hugs. Shane does work for me, David Hunter. He does. Shane's a good dude. One, it doesn't work for what it does, and two, I agree it's viscerally upsetting. I agree. It's the easy way out. If I don't have the patience to actually have a conversation with my kid and to treat him like a human being, I just shouldn't have him. I love how it's turned into like a liberal versus conservative thing, or where it's like, you know, you libtard, pansy libtards that won't even beat your children. It's just so weird how it's become like a I'm a real man. I beat my kids. Like, okay, okay. Those sensitive progressives that don't want to beat their children. Same thing, Ann. Like, if my kid was about to touch something 600 degrees, I'd smack his hand, not because I want to hurt him, because there's a sense of urgency. If my son was about to put a fork in an electrical outlet, I may run over and smack, but that's not because I want to hurt him, or it's not even discipline. It's I don't want you to die. But that's the most I would do. Kinto Zero, yeah. If you can hook up your PlayStation 2, play Final Fantasy 9, really. Or honestly, you don't even have to play it, because honestly, the game itself kind of sucks. The story is good. The game sucks because the battle sequences take forever. So every time a battle sequence starts, it's dun 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 beep, and then the beep is when you get to choose a move, and you can't skip it, and it's so annoying. It wastes so much time. It kills my brain having to wait for the beginning of a Final Fantasy 9 battle sequence. It's much better if you just watch the story as somebody plays through it on YouTube. And there's a ton of people that have played through it on YouTube. Also, the spanking thing, it just demonstrates that might makes right. The other thing about spanking, when your kid turns 18, he's going to be able to beat you up. Like, spanking really doesn't do much. It's like once you're older, you can't spank. That was another argument my dad made. Like, well, you know, when you're 18 or 19 or 20 and you leave here, you're going to have to be left with my arguments as to why it is you should act a certain way. Because I'm not going to be there to take away your television or your Game Boy. I'm not going to be there to spank you. You need to actually believe in the things that I'm saying. And that's very true. What is the least noble method of monetizing an audience? A YouTuber e-begging or a YouTuber selling NFTs? I think the term e-begging is retarded. So let me explain why I think it's retarded. If I have a donation link, that's me e-begging. However, when you, a man that wants to wear a t-shirt and jeans, writes a 3-page piece of paper to talk yourself up why you're worthy of a job, you include references to people that will say a nice thing about you. You show up in clothes that you usually wouldn't wear to an office. You wait 45 minutes to have somebody else for 1 hour talk to you and judge you and ask you questions about your life to see if you're worthy of making $40,000 a year. That's okay. But making a bunch of videos that help people and then having a donation link at the bottom of it, that's begging. No, begging is having a job. Like, begging is having a job. When you're like, please, sir, I've given you a 3-page list of all the reasons that you should pick me over everybody else. Please, sir, I'll even wear a suit. I'll wear a tie. And I'll show up at 6 a.m. Please give me a job. Like, that's not e-beg. That's not begging. Having a donation link is begging. I don't know. I think e-begging is a term that people with normal jobs come up with as a cope because they don't like the fact that somebody's making money without going through the traditional process. Everybody here who has a job at some point wrote a 3 or 6-page piece of paper, made a LinkedIn, and showed up in clothes that they didn't want to wear for a fucking job interview. And then, like, I don't know, I think it's retarded personally. I've worn a shirt that I usually wouldn't wear for a job interview. I did the same thing where I wrote the 3-page piece of paper trying to put together the best version of myself possible, hoping and praying that the 100 people that were there, that they would pick me, pick me, pick me. No, bro. You being on YouTube and having a donation link is not e-begging. That's not begging. Applying for a job, that's begging. That's begging. I think the difference would be if you provide no value. So if you make a YouTube video and the YouTube video has no value whatsoever to anybody, and you're like, give me money, that's different. But if you're like, I don't know, if you're like Afro Tech Mods or Steel Wheels Down or something like that, and you have a link, like that dude taught me what a transistor was. I think I gave him $50 back in the day. That guy taught me what a transistor was. I didn't know what a transistor was. I read the definition in a book and I didn't get it. And then Steel Wheels Down explains it to me, and it all makes sense. I'll give that dude money. That's going to be an unpopular opinion. Massively unpopular, because most people here have jobs. I've had a job before, but it's just I'm at least honest with myself to admit that what I was doing was begging. Okay, let's see how many people I triggered the fuck out of. Who is Erica? What are cats? When are you moving to North Korea? OnlyFans when? Okay, I like your sense of humor. Erica, with a C, not a K, is my ex-girlfriend. The cats are at the store. I'm never moving to North Korea. I don't know if I get along with Kim Jong-un. OnlyFans, when I get in better shape. I'm gonna, we'll see. I'm gonna spend a week with, I'm gonna spend another week in Austin, maybe 1 or 2 weeks, see what I like about it. See if it's interesting, see if there's some business opportunities for me there. There's still an awful lot of stuff in this apartment. Oh, this is all, none of this is actually mine. 99% of this shit doesn't belong to me. 99% of what you see in here is like shit that Erica like picked up from, stuff that Erica like picked up on the street when she was in her garbage collecting or dumpster diving phase that I've just been too lazy to bring downstairs and throw away. A lot of it I've thrown away, but some of this is just, I know I'm not getting my deposit back when I leave. That's never happening. I've never happened in New York City, so I'm not cleaning out most of the stuff. I agree with your dad's method. I'll try it his way first. Cool, David Chang. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate. And you know what I'll do is there were books written on this and how to parent peacefully, and also the effects that you could have on kids, the heightened cortisol levels, and all of that when you spank. And I will try to have them in the chat for the next time that I'm here. Where am I? Yeah, I like the thinking chair. Okay. You're not my dad, Victor. Where are you? How do I... Here we go. What about the beggars on YouTube who just want to sell everybody a t-shirt? I would never want to get somebody's money that way. I don't know. I used to sell schematics for dye t-shirts. I sold t-shirts making fun of New York City realtors. At one point, I debated changing my real estate t-shirt. It's not lying, it's commercial real estate, and like on April 1st to a picture of Jamie from Corcoran, but that would have been fucked up. She doesn't deserve that. But I thought about it. It's a little evil, but I actually thought about it. That's kind of fucked up, but I did think about it. It was like, I thought about it, I smirked and smiled for like 3 seconds, and then I stopped. That would be mean. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing at that. If you can marry one with any type of job, what kind of job are you most attracted to? I do not give a shit what my wife or my girlfriend does for a living. I'm not attracted to people because of their job. I'm attracted to you based on how well you do your job and whether you see it as a craft or not, but I'm not attracted to you for your job. I don't give a shit what job the woman I'm with has. I don't really care. I'll make enough money for both of us if I'm in a stable and proper state of mind. I'm 110% confident in my ability to make more than enough money for the two of us. I don't really care what my wife does. The other thing, ghetto wagon, about selling t-shirts. So here's the thing. This billionaire that gave money to my nonprofit, he told me this 2 years ago. He said, you shouldn't feel bad getting money for nothing because a lot of the areas where you've added value to the world, you're never going to monetize. So like one example he said is, how many people do you think replaced C9560 and had a MacBook work again instead of spend $1,200 on a new one because of you? How many people do you think learned how to add money to their, do you think you're even seeing 0.1% of the value that you've added to all these people's businesses? Because a lot of people that become rich in tech and everything else, they're making a percentage of the value that they put into the world. You are making, like, if you make a few $1,000s a month from like some of these old YouTube videos, but people in the world, like, you have countless people that are benefiting, tens of millions of dollars as a result of it. Don't feel bad if you sell a t-shirt. Don't feel bad if you do a video of like empty real estate and that your stupid ass empty real estate video makes you $10,000. Because if you were going to feel bad or guilty about that, then you should also feel angry and aggravated when your video that makes $3 helps change the world and get 300 more logic board repair shops open in the United States that provide value to people. So that the way I see it is, it's a balance. Like when I do a video on VCCIO versus VCore and I make $4, that gets balanced out by me doing a video yelling at a grate where I get 9.5 million views. I've stopped caring about that. In the beginning, I really cared about it. I used to think, I only want to make money by doing this, by fixing a MacBook and then giving it back to a customer. I'm not going to do any of this. And the reason I stopped that is because it just doesn't make any sense. I'm not like, what I've done is I've said, I'm going to put all this shit out there for free. Let's make everything available for free. After everything has been made available for free, let's see what comes back. Now, if I say I only want something to come back in the specific form of somebody walking into my store and then giving me money to do a repair, I'm massively limiting myself. However, if part of the way that money comes back is, I don't know, I do a video on a grate that gets 9.5 million views, like, fuck it, I'll take it. Truly, I will. Like, there's enough shit that I've given away for free that I will never monetize, but that I know the world is making money off of. The world is still making good money off of the shit that I put out into it, and probably will for a really long time. And I will never see compensation that's even remotely in line with even 0.0001% of the value. So when something stupid comes along and just brings in money for nothing, I've learned to accept it. I don't know if that makes any sense. Hope you have a nice night. You've taught me a lot about myself. I'm sure you get that all the time. Hopefully something good, Eagle of Sugar. And have a good night, sir. There are bands. Some people want $30 for a t-shirt that says the channel name. If it's a good band, if it's a band that I really like, I'll buy it. Children do better with a stay-at-home parent. The gender of the parent is important, but two parents working full-time isn't good for the kids. Yeah, I'm not really... I'd want to be a stay-at-home dad. And the thing is, if I'm wealthy enough to be a stay-at-home dad, once I'm at that point, I don't need my wife to work. How much money the video of anti-homeless people devices in New York made? I'd have to check, but it's probably more than every other video I've done combined. The last time I looked, it was some stupid retarded figure. I swear, like, I do board repair videos, I make $3. There's a video that I did of Mr. Clinton meowing for 30 seconds, and that video made $2,600. $2,600 for Mr. Clinton and Meow. I'm showing you how to take your repair shop from making 40,000 bucks a year to 120,000 or 30 or $200,000 a year. Nobody cares. My cat meows. I make 2,000 bucks. And like that's the thing. 10 years ago, I would have felt guilty about that. I would have felt like there's something wrong with it. Now it's just I'll accept it for what it is. Fuck it. Fine. Because the only reason that I have a channel, because somebody would look at that and say, well, man, I wish I was able to make $2,000 off of recording my cat. Yeah, I wish I could do that. Yeah. Why can't I make $2,000 recording a cat? You can make $2,000 recording a cat. Here's how you do it. Spend 5 years making videos, teaching people how to do your profession for free by staying at work until 4 in the morning instead of leaving at a normal time like everybody else, so that you have time to prep everything and do the videos and invest everything in it. Then, when you do a video of your cat, yelling, maybe you'll make 2,000 bucks off of that stupid cat video. So I don't know. I've stopped caring about like value coming back to me via the same vehicle that I put it out into the world. Like, there's this idea that if I put value out to the world in a car, that it has to come back to me in a car. That it can't come back to me from somebody walking it back to me or flying it back to me or on a drone or something like that. I do my videos strictly to help renters know what is going on these days. I'm glad they're working for you, Jamie. I gotta check out your channel. I gotta see what you got going on. I'm not talking about merchant donations or e-bag. I'm talking about when a YouTuber has a big audience, pulls out a sob story, and guilts the audience for support. Real estate videos have done so well on this channel that now Northridge has started uploading a few as he searches for a home, and he references Lewis wandering around. I'm thinking of sending Northridge my original Bosch. Do you guys think I should send Northridge Fix my original Bosch? I'm thinking of sending him my original Bosch. I've thought about it, but I never took the time to actually bring it to the office and mail it. What if your wife wanted to work at their craft, like my writing? But that's different. I mean, that's a hobby that you then turn into a business. But that's not, a hobby you turn into a business is different than, like working in a coal mine or some shit, Like that's different than going to Walmart and, bagging groceries or something. Like work at your if my wife wants to work at, I would hope that I'm able to provide well enough that if my wife has a passion and wants to work at it, that she could work at her passion. I would not want my wife to have a 9-to-5 job where she has to commute and put on a uniform if she doesn't want to. It was a cute cat, though. It really was. What if your wife has a shopping addiction? Hopefully not. My favorite videos long ago when your camera hovered over a motherboard when you repaired it and talked. During COVID, walking or biking aimlessly. A lot of people really like the aimless bike rides. And I think I may do that. I may do more of those. Off topic, but I really appreciated the one-wheel video you did. I was considering buying one, but holding off. More importantly, it made me think differently of companies in general. Due diligence. Thank you, Guitar Jams. I appreciate that. I feel like I didn't waste my time doing those. I'm also really glad to have spoken to Josh Haley, the guy in Manchester, New Hampshire, with the repair shop. But he really filled me in on a lot of stuff regarding them. I don't know why, even though I have a better paying job making more money, I still feel empty. I have things to do, but I don't know why I can't focus. You have a relationship. Would you want to be in a relationship? How's your personal life? If you're making all this money and you're doing all this work to raise your social status and raise your income and produce an effect in the world, you're not sharing with somebody, that could potentially be why. Like, you may be on strike, At one point, my brain went on strike. So at the beginning, I was broke. I had, I didn't have any resources. I didn't have a lot of skill sets. So I did all this work to gain some skill set. I did all this work after I gained the skill set to start making money and then build the business and then make it sustainable and all that. And at one point, I thought okay, what am I doing all this for? Like, what is the point of having the money in the bank? I have Vandersteen speakers. I have a recliner. I have everything that I want, honestly. Vandersteen speakers, recliner. Like, I'm good. And a place to live. I would like to be able to share this with somebody. I want to share this with somebody, and I want to be able to provide for somebody, but I also want to share my life with somebody. I lost interest in my work because at some point, you don't just want to keep piling up money for nothing. You want to actually be able to share your life with somebody. So I kind of went on strike, and I started, I noticed like subconsciously I was kind of going on strike at work because I wasn't fulfilling my personal life enough. And then once you do that, then, maybe you'll start to feel a little bit more fulfilled. But you can't just work to shovel money up into just keep shoveling money away for nothing. There has to be some point and purpose to it. What if your wife wanted to work at their craft like my writing? I'd encourage her, and I would wish her the best of luck. If there's any way that I could help her with it, I would be happy to help her with it, but I'm not really a writer. But yeah, I would encourage my wife to pursue her passion. If her passion was writing, that. If her passion was some sort of side counseling business, that. Her passion was art, I encourage her to pursue that. It's really weird because there was a person, I'm just going to redact most of the details so that this doesn't get too personal. That was an incredibly talented singer, but that streams, but they can't do streams because they're in an apartment that's really small and overcrowded with people with thin walls. And one of the things that I thought of in my head was, like, if this is like, really like, fireworks are fucking with my train of thought. Like, one of the things that I thought in my head is, if this actually works out, I wouldn't mind if that person were to actually use my setup here. I have an Audio-Technica 4050. I think I have like a Neumann U87 in storage somewhere. I have acoustic treatment, so things sound good. You can make noise here at 3 in the morning because this apartment actually has real walls. Like, I never had that conversation because I never even got remotely that deep into the process with them of getting to know them. And that's like, but that was there. That's where my brain was thinking. Like that's where the gears in my head were turning. When I meet somebody, I see what your passions are. I see what you want to do, and like I feel like I have this nurturing instinct where I think to myself, how could I make it easier for you to pursue your passions and what it is you want to do? Please do bike ride videos. You scream a lot when walking around or biking in New York City. Well, the reason I scream is for signal to noise ratio. So I don't want you to hear a bunch of honking and everybody else's noises. So if I'm screaming loud, but I have the gain on my microphone turned really down, the signal to noise ratio will be really good. So you're not going to hear a bunch of wind. You're not going to hear the honking and all the city noises. There's something mesmerizing looking at melting solder and weird transistors I know nothing about. I would do more board repair videos if I was open to, if I didn't have some of the tremor issues that I have now that I can't really do much about, and also honestly it's a combination of that and that it's just kind of gotten boring after a really long period of time. Like, after there's about 650 edited videos and I think about 400 or 500 live streams. That's like over 1,000 board repair videos. Like, once you do the same thing 1,000 times, it gets kind of old. You were willing to support their thing, which is what you need in a relationship. Yeah, like, I was thinking to myself, I was asking a bunch of probing questions and a bunch of, and she was asking me probing questions, and I was thinking, okay, well, these are the ways in which I think I could make it massively easier for you to get to your dream. Like, you're broke, so you're not going to be able to you're not going to be able to use a studio. You're not going to be able to move to an apartment that allows you to do this stuff. You're not going to be able to soundproof your own home and all this other shit. I know how to kind of advance on YouTube and Twitch and stuff like that, so I can maybe give pointers and tips. But like, I never mentioned this out loud. I never, this is not something that ever left my mouth. That's something that leaves your mouth like, 3 months in, 6 months in, 1 year in. You don't want to give too much too soon, because that's just kind of weird. But like, the gears were turning in my head to, okay, this is what you want to do. This is an idea that you have. This is something that you're really naturally good at. How can I help you do that? So if my girlfriend or my wife has a particular passion, whether it's writing or something else, the gears in my head are naturally turning to, how can I help you achieve that? Where the gears are not turning in my head is if my wife says, I want to have my own job where I make $40,000 a year so I can feel independent, where I show up to work at 9 in the morning, I leave at 6 o'clock, to be in a room with no windows, fluorescent lights, a middle manager who's a douchebag that works above me, coworkers and a boss that don't appreciate me, so that I can, quote, feel independent. Like, fuck, you know. If you want to do something that you want, that's genuine, it's like, something like that, cool. But, yeah. No, I'm not saying that you can't have a job. It's just like, I just don't see I don't see that as intrinsically valuable. But the employees don't want to repair videos. Yeah, that's an issue. I actually figured out a solution to that. And I found a solution to that. And that's going to make me an asshole. People in the store and people in real life are going to think I'm an asshole. But I came up with a solution to that problem. I asked people how much money, how many days off, what benefits, like what do I need to do to get you to be willing to do this? And it's not even like they made a counter offer. It's not even like they said, I want an additional $5,000 a month or whatever. Like they literally just pretended I never had the conversation. Okay. All right. It's good to know. Good to know. Anyway, that's separate. I'm not going to get into that publicly. But don't be surprised if in a few months from now I am perceived as a radical asshole. You are willing to support that thing, which is what you need in a relationship. I agree. I want to support the dreams of the person that I'm with, but if they're genuine dreams, not if it's coping bullshit, you know? Like if I marry a woman and I don't know, she gets a retail job working, like making $1 an hour because she like wants to feel like she has a paycheck, that's weird. I don't know, that's just like I'll support you in the shit that I feel like you want to do if it's for the right reasons. But if it's that like I need to have, and if she already has a career, that's cool. You know, if you're managing a company that's changing the world, if you're an engineer, um, you know, you're building shit. That's cool. Hopefully that makes some sense. I feel like I'm not making sense anymore. The thing, David Chang, is I'm not the type of boss that's going to say, if I'm giving you something to do that's outside, that's considerably extra, and like people don't want to do it, I'm not the kind of person to say, just fucking do it or you're fired. I want to work with you. I want to negotiate with you. The same way that I don't believe in beating children, I don't believe in beating employees. Okay, I take it back. Sometimes I want to beat an Ellen Kevin. Actually, sometimes I want to beat the fuck out of an Ellen Kevin, but that's for another video altogether. It's something that they did 3 weeks ago that made me want to do that, but I can't mention that on camera because of the like I want to negotiate. I want to work back and forth. So I'll act like your union rep, but there's only so much patience that somebody can have. Who is shooting up a car outside? Who knows? Alana Lorenz says I am back. Hello, Alana. How are you? How are you? The cats deserve to be yelled at. Do they? I mean, you scream at the cars. I suppose I scream at cars. What is one thing you want to reach for at this moment? One thing I want to reach for at this moment is I want my audit to be over. I want to shrink my business to make it more sustainable and profitable again. And I want to, finish my audit, shrink my business, and get my personal life in order. Those 3 things. They are good, Ray. I think that they're very high quality. I'm happy with them. It's just I need them to be done. I don't know, Jamie. That's the weird thing. It's people are not going to give you honest answers to that. It's kind of like asking a woman that says she just wants to be friends with you, what about me makes you not attracted to me? You're never going to get an honest answer to that question. The same way you're never going to get an honest answer to asking an employee that question. It's just too weird. It's too weird. I get it. A 9 to 5 low skill job, no, but a job that helps people that they're passionate about is another story. Yeah. It's about the incentive. Like if my girlfriend or my wife says, I want to do this particular job because I feel amazing about it, it's my hobby, it's my passion, and I think I'm going to change the world doing it, by all means do it. If she's like, I want to make $12 at Walmart an hour just in case you divorce me, I have security, like that's weird. You shouldn't be with me if you're like afraid that I'm going to divorce you at any moment to the point that you're so desperate that you want to cling on to a $12 an hour job at Walmart instead of stay home with our children together and be able to spend time together and go on vacations together and do things together. Does that make any sense? I hope that makes some sense. But in order to have that, I'd have to be open to not signing a prenup. And I think I would be open to not signing a prenuptial agreement in order to be able to have that agreement with my wife. I'm going to go to try and be a stay-at-home dad. You can be a stay-at-home mom. You can pursue your passions. No prenup, but like, don't do this. I've known women that do this shit. Like, they get married, they didn't graduate college, and they wind up having a job where they don't even need money, but they get a job that makes $12 an hour because they want to feel like they're making a paycheck, so that in case the guy leaves, they're not destitute. And it's just like, what are you doing? If you're that afraid that the guy's gonna leave, why are you even marrying him? Why are you even remotely considering having children with somebody where you think that that is an option? It's clipping? What's clipping? There's no microphone. This is just my phone. Okay, I think it's just my phone at this point. Yeah, I think it's this phone. Your store is literally 1 mile from the Museum of Modern Art. Do you go there for inspiration and reflection? No. I have a picture. There was one thing there. It was called A Piece to Be Stepped On. It was $250,000. It looked like a broken piece of a rug. It was $250,000. No. That was no. The Museum of Modern Art was a little weird. I'm on Wi-Fi right now, and it says I'm uploading at 3 megabit per second. That's really strange. Trust is the foundation of all relationships. True. Yeah, but it should be for the right reason. Yeah, does that make sense? Like getting a job because you feel fulfilled by it and you like it, versus getting a job out of this scarcity mindset that I need this $24,000 a year in case I get dumped by the person that I'm choosing to have children with. But again, in order for that to be a fair arrangement, there would have to be no prenuptial agreement, which I think would be fair. Let's see. Yeah, fair is fair. Jamie, I think it comes down to poor management. Perhaps the way I phrased it, or perhaps my personality style is such that they believe if they ask that I'll shame them or yell at them. It could be. I always try to think of it as a leadership issue, because if it's a leadership issue, it means that I'm doing something bad. If I'm doing something bad and I'm doing something wrong, then I have the power to change it versus if somebody else is. So it's probably something I'm doing wrong. It's something I'm doing wrong. How many kids you'd like to have? Probably two. I think two. married and I trust my husband. Ooh. In all things, I feel like we are a team. He makes more than me, even though I have a bachelor's and he has an associate's, but I work because it's personally fulfilling. That's cool that you trust your husband, and it's awesome that you work as a team. That is a great relationship. That's awesome. It's also cool that you don't care if he makes more money. That's really cool. I hope you two get along for a long time. I hope you live a long time and prosper, and I hope you have a lovely marriage. And I'm also glad that you have a job that is personally fulfilling. I had a shoddy boss that would drill us for how to have specials, etc., improve customer flow. He paid us so bad, I refused no matter how much I knew and how much he asked. Maybe that's me. It's always possible. I could be a piece of shit. When in doubt, assume that you're the piece of shit, not everybody else. That's an important thing. Always assume that you're the piece of shit, not the rest of the world. The same thing is true in management of a business as is in dating. If you're at a point where you're pulling the Tim Pool and saying it's definitely not me, it's gotta be them. Nah, it's probably you. It's probably you. Okay. Okay, what are we doing? Again, if you assume it's you, then there's a possibility that you could be doing something different. It's always you in some way, shape, or form. Okay. Time to get out of here. This was a very interesting stream. This was not a usual stream. I don't know if I'll be happy with this stream or not happy with this stream. I guess we'll find out in due time. Thank you very much. Paul, as always, you gave me way too much money. Cut that out. Cut that out. We'll tell you to cut that out. I appreciate it. Thank you. But, good night, Jamie. Jamie? We're going to have a talk someday when I'm back here and I have time. Now, my time is usually limited while I'm in New York, but next time I'm here, we're going to have a talk about the men that you're picking, the men that you're picking on the bus, how to pick. Maybe what we're going to do, you know what we're going to do, Jamie? I'm going to watch. I'm going to sit down and see who you're picking, and like in real time. Like when I see somebody that I think is the type of guy that's going to go, hey, and unzip and say, I have an hour free. I'll like just do this to the side of your arm, and then say, and then we'll have a signal. We'll have a signal for when I see that, and we'll explain what it is that made that person a no. And then you're gonna have to do the same thing for me with the women that I pick. God knows I know. It might be 1% you and 99% something else. Maybe, but again, you're the one who brings up this situation, you know? You're the one who creates it. If you're the boss, you hired that person, you set up the rules in a certain way, you set up the company culture in a certain way, you picked it. If you're dating somebody, I mean, you asked this person out, or you said yes. Like there's always agency. There's always things that you could do differently. All right, headed back. Sounds like the storm has passed. There's no storm. It's just crazy. There's people blowing up fireworks. Just blowing up fireworks is all. God bless our country indeed, Lana. I had a great 4th of July, Alana. I spent 4th of July with some really good people. See you later. Have a good night.